Special meeting for December the 1st. Roll call, please.
Dominic. Here. Johnson.
Present.
Williams. Lynn. Bowman. Cawthorn. H. Watts. Escaday. Thibodeau. Cox.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Epperson.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
All right. Dr. Wilson, would you lead us in the invocation, and Commissioner Epperson, would you lead us in the pledge? All stand, please.
Let us bow in a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this expression of your love and your mercy to allow us to be here today. We thank you, Father God, as we come into to do the will of the people of Caddo Parish, to do these God's hearts and minds. It was all said and done. We'll do things in your pleasing and the pleasing of the people that we serve. We pray, Father God, for our armed forces and our first responders. Protect them, Father God, as they do their duty to protect us. Father God, please guide these proceedings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's face the flag. All military and veterans render the hand to brow salute, and let's repeat the pledge in unison. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Then the agenda additions. Don't have any. Next item.
Next, we have citizen comments.
Citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning, please fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return to myself or the clerk of the commission. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. We do have at least 3 cards so far. First one is Rob Broussard. Give us your name and address, please. Go.
Rob Broussard, 451 Sanford, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioners, today we have a very important vote, and I hope that I can look at all of you and tell you thank you for your support for the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association tutorial program for the full funding of such. I know that the issue that came up that seemed to be a obstacle, if you will, was transportation, and in order to help satisfy that, I contacted Dr. Gorey and asked him, are you going to help us with transportation or not? And Dr. Gorey, and I'm quoting here, expressed that the district was willing to work with you on transportation. He sent this to me about another commissioner. He said, the district was willing to work with you on transportation. I explained to him that you had budgeted partially for that, but the district, the Caddo Parish school system, has said they are willing to work with us on those transportational issues that came up. Also today, which came out today, there was a consulting group that did a report, and they're going to present that report to the school board, and that consulting group engaged with 11 sectors throughout the parish. Businesses, nonprofits, pastors, universities, neighborhood associations, principals, employee organizations, students, central office managers, parents, teachers, and politicians. They met with over 150 people. And just to surmise a very few of those comments that came out of that, perhaps the most important one was from the universities, our local universities. When they met, their pronounced statement was that there is a lack of community ownership of educational outcomes. And what they're saying there is it's not only the school system's responsibility to tackle issues like failing schools and failing children. We all, once again, are that community that need to raise and help our children succeed. There are tons of suggestions, many of them, and I highlighted 27 of them that said that community organizations have an obligation to get involved and help our kids to pass in these schools. Ours is one of those. We've reached across the aisle. We've talked to everybody that would listen. We're here trying to serve our community. Thank you for your time and your effort, and I appreciate your vote on this matter when it comes before you today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is Kenneth Griff.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Dr. Wilson, Kenneth Kraft, 157 Archer Avenue, Shreveport, 71105. Also to speak about the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association's application for a $120,000 grant from the Riverboat funds. As I appreciate it, I've read the proposal. I didn't write it. Rob wrote it, but it's basically designed to help poor schools, all in District 8, as a matter of fact, John, and 2 elementary and 2 middle schools, specific Arthur Circle Elementary, A.C. Steer Elementary, Erie Drive Middle School, and Broadmoor Middle Ave. So we're trying to help little cougars and little gators and little Spartans and little bulldogs. Don't know that any of them will ever grow up and be famous. Learned last night on Charlie Brown Christmas what I'd seen 50 years ago to be famous. She told, Lucy told Linus Beethoven wasn't famous because Beethoven's not on a bubblegum Christmas card. So I guess, you know, if that's the standard by which one is famous, none of us probably is on a bubblegum Christmas card. Maybe Randy's got a Cubs card that says that, but we really hope y'all can appropriate these funds. It's a pretty measurable kind of thing where initial and middle and end of program, pretty strict accountability standards are built in. As Rob mentioned, the initial obstacle, or one of the initial obstacles was transportation, and I think that's been solved based on the quote I just heard for the Dr. Gorey and Rob had a conversation. So, and we're meeting after this with them on other issues, school board issues, a little bit later this afternoon. The final thing about this grant proposal is I appreciate it. It's a lot more than the $3,700 we were appreciative to get from y'all that we pretty much used this year to do mail-outs and things. But y'all have rules of decorum, but as I appreciate Robert's rules, any of you can make a motion on this, any of you could second it, and then discussion would ensue according to the rules, and then after discussion would end, a vote would be made. So whatever support y'all can give us, our goal, of course, is to get an appropriation for the full 12 million pennies. Y'all know me, I put a lot of things into pennies. But if we can get 8 million pennies instead, that would still be very much appreciative and helpful. So thanks again for your time, and hope to see one of y'all someday on a bubblegum card so at least one of y'all can be famous.
Thank you, sir. Next is Belinda Robertson. Please give us your name and address.
Hi, I'm Belinda Robertson with the Samaritan Counseling Center. We're over at 1525 Stevens Avenue, 7101. And I'm here to say thank you for supporting mental health, and thank you for supporting the Caddo Parish residents. Because of your support, as well as the community, we are able to provide low-income subsidies to Caddo Parish residents who need counseling. At the Counseling Center, we work on a sliding fee scale. Last year, we discounted over 2,000 hours of mental health counseling. This year, through October, we have provided over $90,000 in subsidies to either uninsured or self-pay clients, and not just uninsured clients, but you have some insurance, some clients that have insurance that don't cover mental health. And you guys have been beneficial in helping us provide the service. We have a special program for domestic violence victims. This year we've provided over 40 domestic violence group sessions, as well as 118 hours of counseling to domestic violence victims. And on the other hand, we've also provided counseling for anger management. We also have a program special for veterans, where we provide counseling to veterans, service members, active duty, and their families members. We also offer first responder training, group sessions, and this year we've provided over 200 counseling sessions. So in essence, I'm here just to say thank you. I appreciate what you guys have done for the residents of Caddo Parish, and we hope that we get you support. I have like 1 minute left. I have some brochures here with client comments so that you guys can know what the people say after they come to Samaritan Counseling Center. Are there any questions?
We pass
Any
them out
next
for you.
questions at this particular time? But we thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you.
Next item.
Next, we move to new business. Adopt the rules and procedure for the Caddo Parish operating and capital improvements budget for 2016.
Okay.
So moved.
Been moved by Commissioner Dominique. Let's see. Second by, I'm gonna go with Gage White since I heard her voice. See no one that wishes to speak? Let's go, let's vote. That passes 11-0.
We move to budget ordinances. Ordinance number 5522 of 2015, capital outlay fund.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Williams. Second by the chair. Is everybody asleep? Now wake up now. Commissioner Thibodeau.
Yeah, I want to make an amendment. I want to amend the capital outlay fund to remove the remaining money for the Dawson Road project and move it back to Public Works. I believe it's about 1.1, 1.2 million. If I can get a second, I'll explain why.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, seconded by Commissioner Cox to remove the 1.25 million from Dawson Road out of capital outlay to Public Works.
There was a vote taken by the full commission and for that project, and the full commission decided not to approve that project. And then there was another project under a different name. It was still a Dawson Road project, and it came in, and the committee voted against it. It also voted against additional funding for that. And so it would seem that since it's been voted down, that the money needs to be moved back to the original fund from where it came.
Commissioner, you for this substitute motion or for something else? How did you, Vice President Lynn, you on for this substitute motion?
Oh, yes, I was going to talk, but
On this
the
substitute?
second?
Yes. Second one to talk? Okay, go ahead, second.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I'll go ahead, when I second this. It's a clear deal that we've looked at this a couple of times, turned it down a couple of times, and I think we could do better with the money elsewhere, and that's why I'm supporting this. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Lynn, you gonna talk?
Call for the question.
Fail for a second.
Second.
Fail for a second. Commissioner,
Rule 5 of the rule we just adopted, line 5.
Yes. Everybody has to have the opportunity to speak.
yeah, so that's it. Fail for a second. Commissioner Evans?
I disagree with this. We still have something on the table. It's a possibility that it could incur more money. This money was put into the capital outlay budget in accordance with the procedures that were in place at that particular time. Bear in mind that it should have been $2.5 million. However, 1.25 million was left out for some reason. So therefore, I think it should go the entire 3-year route, which is the customary method of having projects in the capital outlay. If we need it, we'll have it, and if we don't, we just won't use it. We'll put it back at that point in time. But I'm against this, and I hope that you all will go in favor of that and vote in this town. Thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also like to concur with Commissioner Epperson because to no fault of his own, the administration made a mistake last year, and I think we have an opportunity to correct the mistake that was made. And I too believe that this should stay in the natural phrase where it's at. 1.25 million be used. If we don't need it, we always it always go back to that fund. So I'd rather have some be proactive than to be reactive. And if we need to amend it do more, we always do. We always make adjustments. It's not unusual up here when we make adjustments in certain budgets. So why should we do anything different in this particular budget? I think it's unfair to to not allow that to stay in the contents of where's that. And I hope that your colleague will support Commissioner Epperson. Thank you.
Commissioner Cox, second time.
I don't see Ken in here. Who can answer me a question on Dawson Road?
Robert.
Robert? Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
The work that's going on as far as drainage at the corner of Dawson Road and how is that going? Kenny gave me an update a while back, but where are we at right now?
We've cleaned out underneath the two bridges, and then we're gonna put a pipe in underneath Dawson, but we're not to that point yet, but that's gonna be the final deal that we'll do.
Okay.
We shouldn't have an issue after that.
We should not have an issue after that?
No,
Okay, so.
not for the drainage part.
Not for the drainage part?
Right.
Okay. All right, thanks, sir. The residents that I had talked to at our various meetings that we had here, one lady, she basically stated that all she wanted done was the drainage fixed. Well, I think we're looking at that, and I think engineering is getting that process done. This has come up before us for vote. It has been turned down. It's went to committee. It's been turned down. If Mr. Epperson, I know his passion is there. He and I have talked about this. But when there's something like this, I think it needs to go back to the drawing board and be looked at again. But as of right now, I think that money could be used elsewhere. And the drainage problem is getting attended to, and that, to me, I think that was the main concern. So, thank you very much.
Commissioner Clark.
Yes, just to be brought up to speed on this particular project right here, it's my understanding that there's two questions. One question for the administration. The 1.5 that's allocated, if it goes back to the general fund, it will stay allocated for Mr. Everson's project?
Yes.
It just goes back to the general fund?
Yes, sir.
The Public Works.
Public Works Fund. Okay. Then my second question is, from what I can ascertain, it looks like the 1.5 is a portion of what's needed to complete this project. I'll bring me up to speed on that.
Robert? Robert. Glass. Come on back up.
Y'all might as well come down the front.
Y'all need to stay down here.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna be up and down. Come on, Ken.
Ken.
Ken, come on.
You getting y'all's Christmas gift early?
Earn your pay.
Ask them the total price of the estimated price.
Okay.
All right, for this particular project, what's the total estimated price?
For the Dawson Road?
Yeah, the Dawson Road project.
1.2, I think it's left, a little bit more than 1.2 million, it's still left in the budget.
To complete it?
original.
That's start to finish.
To complete the project that we're looking at now, we're supposed to have the study, first draft of the studies due next week. A little over 1.2 million that we can do the project. We think we can do the project with that money. It's already been appropriated.
That's not the road though.
And is there another piece to this project, or?
No. There was at one time, but the budget was never, I think 1.5 million was never approved. 1.5, I can't remember.
2.5.
Okay.
Did your question get answered?
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Epperson.
1 point, originally we come out to go all the way out to through the Rice Road property, connecting, through the Rice Farms LLC and connecting to Rice Road. And we were woefully under budget as to what we had projected for that. Am I correct? Okay. We ended up talking about 3.9 million. But I think we had looked at a little over 1.5 million, okay? So therefore, we don't know what the final outcome is going to be. Leave that money in the capital outlay, and once we find out exactly what's what, we'll have it if we need it, and if we don't, it'll go back to where it'll go back in the Public Works Fund. So I see no reason to mess with this because we don't know what the total outcome is going to be. So we woefully off on that initial project. So I would ask you all to vote this measure down and leave those funds in the capital outlay. Thank you.
Mr. Thibodeau.
Yeah, by moving this money back to Public Works, that has nothing to do with what's going on with the drainage program on Dawson Road now. That money is coming out of Public Works already. So the movement of this money from the capital projects to Dawson Road has nothing to do with that. That's two different sums of money. And as far as the new Dawson Road project, which went to committee and committee voted against it, did not address any of the initial problems that were needed to be addressed by the original Dawson Road project. The original Dawson Road project is not going to happen because the people on Rice Road will not let it happen. They're going to go to court over it. That's over half the people, so they're not even going to allow that. That's not even going to happen. So whatever the alternative route is, if there is one, the current alternative route, which was turned down by the committee, did not address the original problems. In fact, it still dead ends and has a cul-de-sac at the end of it, which all that did was make a longer Dawson Road as it now exists. It did not improve the anything. It just made it a longer road is all it did. So I didn't want anybody to get confused. The movement of this money does not hurt the Dawson Road project drainage program. Didn't have anything to do with that.
The Dawson Road project, as I understand it from the very beginning, goes back to 2014, 2015. And in that, we voted during budget session to allow 2.5 for the Dawson Road project. 1.25 was supposed to be allocated 2014, 2015, 1.25 was supposed to be allocated. Well, when there was a mistake in the budget, proposed budget, that 1.25 did not show up in 2015, and then we had to actually go back through and put it back in through this process, then everybody who wanted to support it at the time changed their mind. So that's why that 1.25 was taken out. The original 1.25 was already approved, and that's the money that they're operating out of, as I understand it. So this is the same money. This is the same 1.25. Yes, it is. It's the same money. I'm looking at Public Works. They're telling me, yes, this is the same 1.25 money. He's rolling this money over. He can roll it over for 3 years as a capital project. I've talked to administration about this on other projects. You can do it for 3 years. So there's no reason to take it out because this money is being allocated and it has already been voted upon. So there's no reason to bring it up again to try to remove it out. You already was lucky to move it out the first 1.25. Now you're trying to take the other 1.25 that you voted for back in 2014. Doesn't make sense to do that. But this is the route we want to take. It's going to be a long meeting. Commissioner Williams.
I would just ask, we haven't done things like this in the past. Why we want to start this process now? I think it's not, we're setting a precedent for other projects in other districts. This haven't happened before in the past. We roll over projects since I've been down, and we've done this before. It's not unusual. So why today to take one to want to do this in a particular district? I just think it's unfair, and I think the president laid it out eloquently how we should proceed with this. Let it stay where it's at. Don't need to change it. The Public Works Department agrees with the chairman of the body. So I don't think we need to rehearse or rehash this conversation. We need to leave it just like it is and move forward. Thank you.
I think Commissioner Epson talked twice already. So we're going to vote. Everybody else is on the board. Let's vote. Vote on substitute motion.
Which is?
Substitute motion is to take this money out of the capital outlay of 1.25 and put it in Public Works.
No, that's not the motion. The motion is to remove the net amount left of that 1.25
Okay.
and remove it and move it back to Public Works.
Okay. So we don't have a motion.
May I have a point of information? Let's make sure that we articulate and get a proper motion through the commission clerk. Let the clerk read the motion back. Make sure we get a clear understanding.
Right. Mr. Clerk.
Okay. I have removed 1.25 million from Dawson Road from the capital outlay and send back to the Public Works Fund.
Okay. That's the motion.
Well, point of order, there's not 1.25 in there now, because some of that money was already spent on the study and whatever, and with study, I think it was like 1.1 or whatever's left in there.
I need to explain what we voting on, because you saying something, they saying something.
I'm just saying whatever money is left that has not been spent, to move it back to Public Works. That's what I intended to do.
Yeah, ought to leave it alone. We could be moving forward.
Yeah, I was just going to comment that this is not currently in your ordinance, what you're proposing. So in order to accomplish this in your 2016, yeah, this is not in the ordinance. The current ordinance before you does not involve Dawson Road. Dawson Road was appropriated in previous year. That money can sit there until the project is completed, if there's a project that's begun, or 3 years of inactivity. In order to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, you would have to ask for a transfer from the capital outlay fund back to the Public Works Fund to cancel the appropriation for Dawson Road in 2016.
That's what I'm doing.
Right, I just,
2016.
But that's not.
That's what I asked to do.
except you just
I mean,
said send the money back. I'm just trying
When
to
I talked to you
explain.
about it, to ask you what was the proper way to do it, you told me remove it from the, whatever the balance was left, remove it from capital outlay and move it back to where it came from, which was Public Works, and that's what I'm doing.
I'm just providing clarification on what it takes to
Well, for
accomplish.
2016, if I need to say 2016, I mean, that's the budget we're working on.
I'm just clarifying that it's a transfer
Okay.
out. And that it,
I got a point of information, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I think that motion, you don't know what he's talking about. Let's move on.
You said it's not in the ordinance. That motion is not in this ordinance.
no, what he's doing to amend it, to cancel the appropriation would have to be amended and ask for a transfer out in 2016 to cancel the appropriation for Dawson Road. Currently, you don't have any transfer outs in this ordinance, you only have transfer ins. So to add a transfer out to cancel the appropriation, you would need to do that transfer and also a return of the monies back to the Public Works Fund through a transfer out. So if you look at your ordinance, which is, if you look at page 2 of the ordinance, if you all have your books. At the bottom where you have other financing sources, you would need to add a transfer out to the capital outlay fund, to the Public Works Fund. So right now, you only have transfers from. So you had to add a transfer out, a transfer to the Public Works Fund for the balance remaining on the Dawson Road project.
Okay.
Point of order, I didn't use CPA speak, but I think the words that I used mean the exact same thing. I want to move it from from capital outlay to Public Works. That's all I'm trying to accomplish.
That does accomplish it, but you still would have to come back at some point and reduce the expense line item. That's sending the money back. But you have an expense line item that's currently in that budget that is not in this 2016 budget, because you can't vote on these items that are previously. But in essence, that should accomplish it if that passes. But we would have to do some cleanup work in 2016 to make it all.
Bottom member, see, it's a moot point at this point, then, if we can't do it.
Well, that's your
I'm saying
opinion.
you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
This is,
for me to get clarity on this motion, the motion is that
sir,
the motion is that you transfer the money out of capital outlay, reduce Dawson Road by 1.25.
whatever the
And put
balance
the
is,
money-
the balance is not.
Well,
wrong.
Yeah, we
whatever
know what the balance
is.
is.
Whatever the
What's the
remaining
balance?
balance is, it goes into Public Works.
The balance, we now have the balance we looked up. It's 1,185,920. That's the current balance,
1,185,000 what?
$920.
Okay.
It's embarrassing. As long as people been down here, they don't know what to do.
So, transfer, the motion is, we're gonna transfer, substitute motion is to transfer $1.185 million, $920 out of capital outlay. To reduce that and to put that into Public Works and to do away with the Dawson Road. That's right. Am I right?
That's correct.
That's what you got?
That's what I have, sir.
Okay. Let's vote on that. That fails.
It passes.
No.
No, it's
It's
failed.
ordinance, you gotta have 7 votes.
Only have 11 in attendance.
You gotta have an ordinance.
Yeah,
gotta have
If you got 7, don't
We
matter.
gotta have
Go look at
seven.
our sheet, it says 7 votes. Okay. Next is to move to the original ordinance, capital outlay fund.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Move the second, Commissioner Lynn.
I would like to remove $150,000 from project 61-4739, which is the fence around the courthouse.
Second.
Move second to remove project 61-4739 for $150,000. The 6-foot fence around the courthouse.
I'll speak on it.
Go ahead.
In my 8 years here, I have always agreed with things that are brought forward to me by the 7th floor. This particular case, the fence around the courthouse, I think it sends the wrong message to the citizens of Caddo Parish. I think that the courthouse should be viewed and should be open to every single person of our community. And putting a fence around it, I think, sends the wrong message. That's all.
What's the 7th floor? Who was that?
That's the floor under the 8.
As the second.
It's a hanging chamber, huh?
I just kinda wanna know who
As the second of this motion, I gotta admit, when I first heard about this, I did not like it. So I asked a few people at our homeowners association, business association, and the consensus was that they did not want to put a fence up around the courthouse, simply being that that is the people's courthouse. Now, as I have asked for a history, when was the last time we had a problem down there? Whether it be a riot or a protest or anything like that. Nothing over 18 people had really protested down there, and that's because they basically didn't get a permit, from what I was told, to have their protest. So I am not going to, in my opinion, deface Caddo Parish Courthouse to put a fence all the way around it and make it look like a stockyard. Not going to do it. And I would hope that everybody else votes the same way. Thank you.
Mr. Dominic.
What committee did this come out of?
I think it was a special project.
I know that, it's my understanding,
Building and maintenance.
came out of y'all's committee, voted 100%.
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
No,
What was the vote on it?
there was a dissenting vote.
Okay. No, I wasn't in it. But, I mean, I wasn't on the committee, but I did see the pictures. I looked at them from Dr. Wilson. They don't look like a stockyard to me. I mean, this is something that the sheriff had requested.
They're like a stockyard to me.
The sheriff had requested this. It came out of committee. So I'm gonna vote to keep it in. I think we need to keep it in there.
Commissioner Epperson.
White House has a fence that they've modified several times, and they still jumping.
They're athletic
All
up
I
there.
have to say.
Commissioner Williams?
I'd like to echo what Commissioner Cox said. This courthouse belongs to the people. The people walk in the courtroom. It's enough to walk down and see the Confederacy in front of the building. Now you gonna put a fence around? I mean, what we going back to? I thought we were free from all this kind of attitude and behavior. But we supposed to be free. It's enough. So I agree that we don't need no more fences. We got enough jails. We don't need to make the courthouse no jail either. So definitely support Commissioner Lynn's motion to keep it free and open to the public. It's enough when you walk there. You're looking for justice, then you see the Confederate outside the building, and you put a fence. You're already confused about if you're going to get any justice here in Caddo Parish. So I hope that we don't send the wrong signal that we're going to pin city around Caddo Parish jail.
Mr. Escudé.
I'm going to support Commissioner Lynn's motion. I don't see that we need to be putting a fence around that building either. Just because some of the people that may use it are quote-unquote undesirable or homeless, that they may have paid taxes at one time. It belongs to everybody, and that's, of course, the few people that reside there want to live in a gated community, and then I don't know if anybody surveyed them about that, but I just don't think that things are so bad here we have to worry about terrorists and preventing people from making use of their property. We already have enough restrictions about what we can and cannot do in public facilities. The problem with public facilities lately and in this country and as a whole is the fact that the people in charge of them forget who really owns them. And that is the taxpayers, and that is the general public. So I'm not going to support this. I think the courthouse is fine. I'm going to support his amendment. Thank you.
Okay, nobody else to speak, let's vote.
Right?
That passes 9-3. Now going back to the original motion of the ordinance 5522.
As amended.
Yeah. Moved by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Johnson, as amended.
As amended. Let's vote. And what's the?
What?
Ordinance number 5522, as
We're
amended.
voting on ordinance number 5522 as amended.
5523?
22, the first one. We still on the first one? As amended by Commissioner Lynn of the $150,000.
Okay.
Vote. That passes 10-2.
Next, we move to ordinance number 5523, general fund.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Epperson. As the maker of the motion, you want to say something? As the second?
Good job, Vice Staff.
Commissioner Thibodeau.
I will do my annual move that the commissioners not be eligible for the 2% cost of living.
Second.
Third.
You're not gonna be here.
I don't care.
As a substitute motion of that the commissioners would not be a part of the 2% cost of living. Been seconded by Commissioner Lynn.
Yeah, we don't want no
Okay. So as the maker of that motion, you want to say?
No, I've done it for 7 out of 8 years, so.
You took it every year, though.
We've done it every year, and
You
so
took it, but you voted against it.
And I
Hypocrite.
tithe it down the road, just like the rest of us do.
Okay, Commissioner.
That's all.
Commissioner.
We don't care, 'cause we leaving.
Let the games begin.
I'm gonna vote
Look who
against
showed
this.
up.
I am, I'm here. Things are
Well,
gonna
but be
change.
quiet and let me talk.
Have we ever now let you talk?
You know, when we look at, we look at this, I guess you can look at yourself and see what you think you are worth. That's the way I look at it. And you need to look at these districts too. You know, my district is 118 square miles. District 7 is 18.6 square miles.
Yes, sir.
District 4 is 7.1 square miles. District 1 is 459 square miles. But you know, if you got fat pockets, that's your business. You know what I mean? But I work my district. I'm gonna put it this way. My constituents have spoken for 6 terms. And this issue has been in place. They did not have any issue with it. And I earned mine. The same as the employees down here supposedly will earn their raises, which we in turn have to vote for. I, and maybe some of you, may have given them some excellent ideas that enhance what we are doing here, where you got some folks that's making $150,000, $160,000, $170,000 a year. That's appointed employees, you know what I mean? Nice and cushioned. But we catch all the hell, all the bad press, anything negative, but I earned mine. And as long as I'm here, I'm going to vote for an increase. Because a loaf of bread does not cost me the same as it did back in 1991. And I don't see any mules and buggies out on that parking lot. So I'm voting no.
Commissioner Escudé.
I understand what Commissioner Epperson is saying, and there's a lot of truth in what he says. And quite frankly, I've been around a long time, and I can just tell you there's not a year I've been on this body that, as far as in my business ventures, it hadn't cost me more than I've earned here. Just with, because it's 24/7. People think we show up 4 times a month and have little committee meetings and that's it, but they have no idea. So, but also at the same token, and you know, you got all the people in the blogosphere out there, and they run across something, and then all of a sudden the world's not right, and they want to challenge it, and we need to do something about it. And instead of inquiring about it, they just want to opine that everything is illegal. Mr. Thibodeau's brought this up every year and supported it. I've supported it because I don't think that it's a charter violation. In fact, I think it's legal. I mean, that's been addressed, but that doesn't satisfy some people. But since there is a certain segment of the population out there that tends to question it, you know, it's 2%, and it's not a lot maybe to me or you, and it could be a lot to somebody else. So I've always supported it because I'm really not sure that that's what the intention of the people were when they passed the charter back in 1982. I think there's several things in the charter that were provided for originally that, you know, it's a huge document that the voters voted for and adopted and converted the parish government, and you can't go through all of that. Then you realize, you know, this necessarily wasn't what we would have done, but times have changed in 30 years. So I'm going to support Commissioner Thibodeau's motion, and I really think one way to possibly resolve this once and for all is, you know, get a little backbone, man, and put this out on the charter amendment and see what the voters parish seem to think about it. You know, they can always change the charter. But just because somebody doesn't like it doesn't mean it's not legal. And I'm convinced that there's nothing illegal about it. Now, is it unpopular? That's possibly true. Possibly. In a certain segment. But there's only one way to find out. So, you know, throw it out there. But, you know, if anybody wants to question the hours that I know personally that most of you have put in, then they just, they need to go away, man. They have no idea. You know, when you sit down at Thanksgiving dinner and you're trying to enjoy time with your family and somebody's calling you because they got a dog running loose. Now, they called animal control, and it's a holiday, and they got the message, you know, and before the message could be forwarded, they don't wait 10 minutes, they're calling you. Well, by the time you make your call, it's all been resolved. The person's out there. So, anyway, I'm going to support it. Thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, people think we do part-time work, but it's a full-time responsibility.
Yes, sir.
With part-time pay. Regardless of what you think, the countless hours that we spend, especially the urban commissioners, we represent the city and the parish. We got every problem you can imagine. you can imagine. And it's not unusual, because government shouldn't just be for the have, it should be for the have-nots too. If that's the case, nobody poor could serve in office. You got to be rich, or you got to be middle class. That means it couldn't be for the poor people that want to serve public life. Government is not just for the have, but it's for the have-nots as well. And it's not unusual for, we're not living in Neanderthal days. This is the 21st century. Inflation, cost of living, everything goes up. You know, our lives matter too. People think politicians' lives, elected officials, and public servant lives don't matter. Our lives does matter. Like Ken said, all the negative publicity don't go to the administration. We're the ones that get kicked out of office. They stay in office. So don't think that we don't take a blunt of all the things that go on. We human, we got feelings. Our family got feelings. We know we serve at the pleasure of the people. But it's a thankless job. Many people talk a lot of rhetoric and propaganda and posture for the cameras and the media. But when you get in these hot seats, it's a different story. Say what you're going to do when you run for office. But you got to work with 12 different mindsets of people, with different districts, rural, urban, city. And it costs. How you like to pay for the medical bills some of them have to go through up here? So I wouldn't, and then the people that talk about it want still take the 2%. They don't send it back. They don't give it to a nonprofit because it sounds good to their constituents. And I'm fine of fighting. I ain't taking no 2%, but you ain't never turn it back. You ain't never turned down a check. But you want to sit up here and talk rhetoric to the people in your district. You ain't never turned down the 2% yet. I'm ashamed of you. But I'm going to support Commissioner's, it's a 24-hour day job. I'm proud of what I've done. Make no mistake about it. The work I've done speaks for me.
Right.
So if you ain't doing it in your district, shame on you. You must don't have no problem that we have. You don't have the issues that we face every day. Poor and poverty, people crying, no hope and no help. Homeless, tore up streets, drainage problem, sewage problem. No father at home, no mother at home. Don't even go to church on Sunday. How can you tell us about problems? You ain't never lived a day in the district with people suffering every day for a job. Contract. We're the majority, but we the minority when it comes to economic development and contracts. Don't make no sense. And you got the audacity talking about 2%.
I was saying that just a second ago.
Don't make no sense. If you don't like it, give the 2% back and give your check back. But I need mine because I earned it. Thank you.
Okay. Did a little research on this. Back in 1994, the Caddo Parish Commission voted on a raise, and this was a raise, $14,450. In that time, there have been no other raises. There have been cost of living increases, which is really not a raise. It's a cost for inflation. Over that particular time, if you go to the federal website where you do the cost of living increase of put $1 value in and see what that dollar value is today. Today, that $14,450 is over $23,000. The only person who makes over $23,000 is the president of the commission because they get that extra $100. When I ran for office, there was nowhere printed of how much a commissioner makes. This only became to light on this term of how much a commissioner makes. And that was probably because somebody that sits up here told somebody in the community how much we make, or there was a public record request. So I don't know about other people, when they decided to run, I didn't know what the price was. I decided I wanted to run because I wanted to serve people. Now, being sitting in the seat as an elected official, we're classified as part-time employees, but my phone rings all time of the night. I go out and I service my constituents because that's what I felt that they elected me to do. And so that's what I do, regardless of it's daytime, night, weekends, or whatever. If I can help them, that's what I'm going to try to do to help them. But to say all of a sudden in 2015 that we're the highest paid in the state, which is a lie. If you do research and do public record requests of all the 64 parishes, there are other parishes that make more than we do. We're probably the highest paid in North Louisiana, but we also the largest parish in North Louisiana. With over 250,000 people in this particular parish, well, no other parish in this area compares to us. No other parish in this area compares to the things that we do. If you look at us on the state level, we're leading the state. If you look at us on the national level, we have people that sit here on national committees that represent Caddo Parish, and Caddo Parish is fully represented on the state level and the national level. We even had a commission that was on an international board. So, you know, to say that, you know, you pay for what you really get. If you want garbage, you pay for garbage. If you want quality, you pay for quality. And I feel that I'm gonna give my constituents over 100%. And in return, you know, whatever the pay is, it is what it is. Now, if we were gonna sit here and say that we were gonna not do the cost of living increase for 2016, you do it for the whole commission. And that includes us and all the employees that work for the commission. Don't just exclude 12 people out of 400 people. It doesn't make sense. You know, we're elected, they're hired and appointed, but at the same time, we're all one body. And if one person is weak within our organization, we weak too in that particular organization. Because what will happen is the public will then pinpoint that weak spot, and then that's what they're going to be talking about all the time, which will be a reflection upon us. Which then at the same time, we'll be talking to Dr. Wilson to get rid of this person here because it's making a bad image of the Caddo Parish Commission.
Right.
So at the same time, we have to be able to say either it's us and everybody together, or not just separate the 12 commissions because we're elected and there's some bloggers that say, well, y'all shouldn't get paid that. Because the majority of the people through this last election decided who they wanted to be commissioners.
That's right.
And in that fact, you got, I think it was 8 returning. So 7 returning. So at the same point, 7 people came back through. 1 decided not to run. 1 resigned early. So that's really 9. If that person decided to run, he might would have won. Who knows? But at the same time, we have to do things as a unit instead of doing things, separate this out because a few people are complaining about what we make. Let them run for office. Let them sit in this seat. Let them have these problems that we have. Then they'll understand where we go to. Commissioner Cox.
That deserves a hand clap of praise.
Right ahead.
Come on, Mr. Bowman.
I'm done.
I didn't want to step on your parade.
Yeah, I was in there. Well done. Good job.
Since we're in the general fund, I'd like to make an amendment for 2 projects.
We still got this motion that we need to run through.
Let's get it
We need to
voted.
vote. So we'll come back to you later. Commissioner Dominic, you hadn't talked on this, had you?
No, I haven't.
All right.
Sit here and listen to everything that everybody has said, and I agree a lot with, Commissioner Epperson, Commissioner Escaday. We have large districts, as everybody knows, I have the largest district, furthest way to come, furthest way to any of the meetings, committee meetings. Usually when I come down here, my day, at least half my day is destroyed, leaving at least 45 minutes to an hour earlier. But I think it's a perception that we as commissioners need to vote. If we were going to vote on these, vote on it separately. This 2% raise. Commissioner Thibodeau brings it up each year, trying to put it forth that way. I believe I've always supported it. I will continue to support it. And, it's just a, perception issue. It doesn't mean that we don't work hard, because we do. All of us know that we spend a lot more time doing our jobs and people don't see exactly what we do. I wish at this time we could go ahead and vote on it. So I'm through talking. I'll be supporting your motion, Commissioner Thibodeau. Appreciate your hard work for bringing it up every year.
Commissioner Thibodeau, second time around. Well, hold on. Commissioner Carthon got on the board.
I want to briefly say this. In this local community, we fight between progress and preservation all the time. Preservation, by definition, means to keep things the same. And I understand there's a notion where we are a community that's basically split in half. It's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. No one wants to talk about it. At the end of the day, we've got to decide how we move on down the road. A 2% increase, by the time you get it, it's factoring the taxes in your check, it won't be there anyway. and there's no need for us to spend time on it's obvious if you're elected, you know you work, all right, and you know you deserve an increase. There's no one running a business out here who would run a business in an economic society, an economic economy, and after 2 or 3 years, one making a profit, they would shut it down and go on down the road. I think we do good work for this community. I think we do good work for the citizens of Caddo Parish. And I think the employees of Caddo Parish deserve a 2% raise. And just as well as the elected officials up here deserve a 2% raise. I polled people in my community, in my district, as it relates to this, should I take it, should I not? They said, we feel that you work, you deserve a raise. So first and foremost, I work for District 6. All right, and then I work for the entire parish. So I think we move on down the road and we stop fighting, and we stop the fight between progress and preservation.
Very well said. Mr. Thibodeau, second time.
The point has never been the amount of money. It's never been. The point has been that as an elected official, when you get an increase of any kind, it needs to be done with transparency. So it needs to be done in open and not stuck into the budget somewhere. And that was the whole purpose for the last 7 or 8 years why I brought this up, because it needs to be done in the open. That's all I've ever cared about, was that we don't try to hide it somewhere. I could care less what the bloggers say, and there weren't any bloggers around 7 or 8 years ago.
Exactly. They came late when I became president.
What does that say? I have a couple of other things to say. Somebody mentioned that what we should do is the Charter Review Committee, which we had in 2012, they made a recommendation in 2012 for us not to get the 2%. But the commission voted it down and didn't allow it to go to the voters. So that recommendation was made. I know I was the chairman of the committee. So I know they made that recommendation, but the commission voted it down. And Mr. Williams, who drives the most expensive car?
I'm a BMW, a black man working.
And last, as an old math teacher, you can't work harder than 100%. That's all you can do is 100%. It's impossible to do more than 100%. And I just want to make that point. That's all I have to say.
No other comments. Let's vote on the substitute motion.
Now let's
get it clear.
The amendment,
Mr. Clerk.
the amendment is to remove commissioners from the general fund's 2% COLA.
I wonder how it's going to come out.
Wonder how it's going to work.
All the rich districts and the poor districts.
Man, I'm poor and you.
Okay, Commissioner Cox, you had another substitute.
Yes, I've got a substitute. I've got 2 issues on 2 different, you want to do them one at a time or get them both out there?
We're keeping that vote up for a long time. For some reason.
The first one is, I'd like to make an amendment to the general fund for the amount of $475,000 to go to the Greenwood, Louisiana water and sewer project.
Second.
I ain't got my glasses on, so I can't see you. I know you're still looking.
Well, I'm looking at,
Don't worry, I've already, she is cringing back here.
you got to make sure that you allocate the money from what fund to what in order to do that.
She's already told me that she don't like it, but I can't take it out of this fund.
So, okay. So we got a motion.
And I love her to death.
Got a motion and a who second? Okay. Put this in.
Transfer, it would be a transfer out your second side of you've already adopted the fund that it would have to go to. We would have to clean that up in 2016 because you've adopted your capital outlay budget, and it would take a transfer from your general fund to your capital outlay fund, but you would have the monies coming out of the general fund to the capital outlay fund.
And if I can speak on it?
Yeah, I was gonna get to you. As the maker of the motion.
Now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. As we look at this project right here, we had the mayor come up to us, explain to us that he has done half the project on the water side. He's currently tightening up that and going to the sewer side. Now, Ken, that's his area. Ken and I talked about this, and he and the mayor's talked about it. I've talked to Ken wherever he is. I ain't got my glasses on, but man, I told you to keep down front. But anyway, this is a project that in time will bring tax dollars back to Caddo Parish. You cannot build a town, especially in that region right there, where there's vast amount of growth potential. You know, everybody's talking about I-49 north. Well, West Shreveport still has some good area of growth. You look at the old mall that's out there, they're trying to do something with that. You look at Greenwood, they're trying to do something with what they've got.
Dawson Road.
Well, I disagree on that one, but anyway, what we've got here is a community that's still growing. A community that needs help. They've already done all they could to get this project done. They need our help to finish it. Now, Ken has some information that I'd like for him to share on this, and as far as us getting this tax money back.
And I'll try to be brief. I met with the mayor after he was here last time. I went and rode with him, looked at the projects that he's doing, and looked at the areas that he believes will grow with these projects. And we've briefly done, through the help with his engineer, Baylor and Associates, they've put together a few things. If the development, or if the area can grow about 25 homes a year, just in residential side alone, the taxes will end up coming back to the parish. Will take about 13 years. That's without any industrial activity, business activity, commercial activity, or even on the greater than 25 homes. So on the request from Donna, we're working on a economic impact study. I should have it done maybe next week. That'll show exactly how it works out and how the parish could be economically sound doing so.
Thank you, Ken. To follow up on that, we have done, in my opinion, with that lady's help over the last 12 years to get us where we are today. Flip through your book. There isn't a negative in any of these programs.
Nope.
There's not a negative in here.
Nowhere.
But, I hear you back there, sweetheart. But the way that it's set up, you just can't take something out or move something. You either got to go to the voters or something like that. I understand that. But there is also a time after 12 years you need to say, these guys got to have it to survive. Greenwood, and Ken will tell you too, 50% or even 70% of Greenwood can turn on their water and it's brown.
Yes.
Who wants to drink that? Or their sewer system, their sewer lifts do not work, so most of the time they get problems on the backside. Okay? The man came to us, asked us if we could do it. We did a similar project where we put bigger lines in, where?
Vivian,
Oil City. We'll see, as the 49 corridor builds up, we'll see that money back because water, I've said for 12 years, water is gold. And we've got plenty of it now. So with this money, I feel that, even though it's out of general fund and some people in administration are looking at me like, David, you waited 12 years to do this? Yes. But it's a project that needs to be done. It's a project that they can put in, get done, and then you'll see economic growth even more than what they've already done. And I don't think Ken will have a problem with this either. So that's my.
Is this on the water side or this on the sewer side?
It's a sewer side, but they, like I explained, they had already done and completed the water side.
Correct.
Now they have to complete the sewer side. You knew that. You know that.
As the second, I just wanted to make sure because I see both on here. As the second, you want to say something?
No more than beyond what he said is the fact that something else we need to consider. When we have an opportunity to do something that would be productive for other areas and municipalities. We have to remember that, again, we represent Caddo Parish, so it's not just Vivian, it's not just Morrisport, somewhere else. Greenwood is a part of us, just like Shreveport. Like, I know we don't want to help sometimes with what's going on with the city, but Shreveport is still a part of us. And until we, around this horseshoe, get this mentality and understand that we truly are better together, and that how if you help one in Greenwood, that's going to affect everybody else, because that's growth still within our parish. So therefore, I just think it's God's blessed us. We're able to do it. It's an investment in the livelihoods of people who live in that area, and for those who want to come. And if they come there, they're still coming to Caddo Parish. So I support it, and I hope that the rest of my colleagues will as well. Commissioner Wheaton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This commission body has been a transformer. They have also been the economic ambassadors of this whole Northwest Louisiana, even before we hired an economic development partner. I just want to commend the commission for representing the four corners of this parish. No matter what part of it, we're growing outward, not just inward. And that is going to be able to appeal not only on a national level, but a global level, because in order for us to be able to compete in a global economy, we got to, first and foremost, be able to attract Fortune 500 companies. We need to be able to have all our industrial parks up to code, where people can look at the four corners of our parish, bring their goods and serving their products and their families and their tourist dollars to Caddo Parish and the city of Shreveport. Whether we like it or not, we all are married together. We all woven together in this community, regardless of what parish or city you live in. We're all in this thing together. So I'm glad that we don't just focus on one part of the parish and just downtown, but like I said earlier, the other parts of our community. So I'm excited to see the vision and the visionaries of the people that are looking at the parish as a whole body. So I want to commend Commissioner Cox for his efforts, and especially Commissioner Efforts, who's been a cheerleader for West Shreveport as well. So I'm excited like you two, even though I may not be here with you guys. In spirit, I'll be here. Commend you guys on the work that you've done. So
we'll come bug them every now and then.
I'll be in the private sector. I'll be like him, be a millionaire, that man right there.
Well, I sent a Christmas card to the wrong guy then.
One of the most important things that I think that government should do is that we should provide clean air, which you can go 3 minutes without air. And I believe that government should provide clean water, which you can go 3 days without water. And I salute Greenwood in getting on top of this. This is something that the city of Shreveport should have done 50 years ago with our water systems, and the fact that they are going in and replacing all of their pipes that need to be replaced and providing a safe environment for their community. It will allow developers with water, with fresh water, to market to the homes. And so it'll, it might hurt the city of Shreveport a little bit, because people will be wanting to move to Greenwood that much more. But that's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Dominic.
Erica, where would this money come out of our general fund?
That's the motion that Commissioner Cox made for it to come out of general fund.
To be allocated toward this project?
Yes.
Do we have the money in there?
Yes.
Do we have everything good down here?
Do we have? But it's running tight.
Mr. Adger, don't believe all you hear.
Really? Better question is, can we afford it?
Yeah, can we afford it? That's a good one.
Yes, sir.
I just, I think it's a good project. I think it's a little bit different from, the way we did the water in North Caddo, because it all tied into the utility district, the plan to provide water. This is sewer, so it is a little bit different. You got a lot of towns up there that they have sewer problems, have been wanting money for their sewer and water too. But this is kind of an outreach for the growth on I-49, where we went the route toward Oil City or Vision. So I'm done.
Commissioner
I'd just like to say, if you look at my trifold during my 3 elections in District 12, you will see clean drinking water, sewer infrastructure, and roads. So,
You got some
I'm
good
glad
roads.
I got Mr. Cox won over.
You got good roads in your area now.
Right.
Help us in the city.
That's all I have.
Wait a minute. You got 4 minutes.
I guess the question I got is, how will we get paid back this $475,000?
It's the study. It's the study he's gonna do.
That was the study that Ken said. I mean, you get it back
Yeah,
through
payback.
economic development, but
But normally when they do studies, they tell you what's the payback, how many years.
it seemed like on Dawson Road, there was a study.
Oh, it's dead. That ain't gonna die, no
Study said not to do it.
Okay, so I guess the 13 years to get payback, I forgot what Dawson Road was, but it was a high number as well. But,
Poor folks out there.
yeah, but they also utilize $75,000 houses, which you can't build to today.
They don't be talking about my house.
That's my brand new. I can't build a brand new one for them. I guess this kind of opens up the door for, and Commissioner Dominic kind of mentioned that, we have water districts and sewer districts, and I think it's one of the sewer districts in District 2 is going up for LBG grant, and if they don't get it, I mean, that work is still needed. So, I mean, I'll be coming back to this body in 2016 if they don't get it, to try to make sure that they get the money to get this done. Because that water that goes into this particular sewer district ends up in Cross Lake if they have a leak, and they've been having leaks because they get rainwater goes into the system, pumps can't keep up with it, and so raw sewage goes into Cross Lake.
Wait now. Let's give it today.
So therefore, well, I'm going through the state first.
It's Christmas.
I'll let the state do their deal. But if they don't, then I'm just letting the body know that I'll be coming back to try to get this as well. Commissioner Escudé, you hadn't talked.
I love it up at the 8th floor this time of year. You get around finance. It's so uptight over there. When the wind blows hard, only a dog can hear it, man, by the time it gets filtered. But anyway, perhaps the thing to do, and I understand finance concern, but messing with the fund balance and general fund would probably be to consider either amending the motion or at a later date transferring that money out of oil and gas, putting it back in the general fund. See, she perked up. Okay. and that's just a sound accounting. That's sound accounting, and that keeps our bond rating high and doesn't put everything in a cash crunch. But I would only suggest that in the future, my last parting bit of advice is that, as you know, in recent years, the state continues to be able to meet their obligations to local governments and parishes. Lord knows this city can't barely keep itself, a dollar in the bank from day to day. And they drop the ball. And this parish has done what it can, not just for the parish, but reached out, helped out the school board, helped out the city. We do what we can, but we've been fortunate enough last 8 years to be blessed by all that money from the Haynesville Shale. I want to commend everybody for not going out and spending that like drunken sailors and building monuments to ourselves and wasting it. And I understand that a lot of people like to see it put back into community programs and social programs, and we need to do that. Those things are important. The thing about a not-for-profit, whether it's food or tutoring or clothes or whatever, is they're back every year. The need never goes away. And it's constant. And you constantly have to fund that. But when you have projects like this that you can fund one time, that can have a lasting impact and stir economic development and growth, and you can get a return on the investment, and we've got this stockpile of money that we've always said we want to use it to invest long-term to return for the citizens, and these are the kind of things you need to look at using that money for. And that's what it's there for. Now, the fact that Greenwood is needing to do this is because they're growing. They're growing like South Streetport's growing out in David's district and Commissioner Smith's. Starting to grow out in Doug's district. I guess that's the people, and the city's not growing. People leaving the city, and they're going to continue to leave the city, you know, for whatever reason. Now, we can either let it go to Bossier, or we can make Greenwood nice and Keithville and all these other places, at least keep them in the parish, they're paying taxes. If I was Greenwood, I'd petition the state of Texas to annex us and get out of Louisiana, but that's just me. I got a lot going better. But anyway, I guess my point is, these are the kind of things that once you fund, you don't have to continue to fund like an NGO or like a nonprofit, because you know the need, the problem is solved, the need is there, and it creates opportunity for the future. So, as we've helped out in Vivian and done other projects, even though it may be out of our scope and of our duties, the thing is, when we have this windfall, why not invest it in something? Why not get out of the box? Lord knows we're having to pick up the slack for the state dropping the ball, you know, on us more and more. I mean, we've had to prop up university programs. You want them to go away? Needed programs. You want them to go away just because the state cuts the budget? Now, the bad side about that is, you know, the state takes wind of it and says, oh, they take care of themselves. We'll do less and less. Well, you know, that's where we need to work with our state legislatures. But anyway, I think this is a reasonable request. We don't get them very often. It makes sense. I think it's something we ought to do, and I'm going to support it. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Cox.
Thanks to do that.
Second time.
And to add to it, our attorneys has asked me to make an amendment stating that, what?
That's not on the agenda.
Okay, never mind. Now I'm going to call for the question.
You can't do that.
Okay.
Commissioner Dominic.
I just want to say one more thing, that the same thing that Commissioner Johnson said. I think by doing this, we are going to open up some floodgates, because I'm telling you that I've had the mayors and stuff always asking for money for sewer and things like that in those little bitty municipalities. So Commissioner Johnson's going to come back. I'm sure I'll be coming back to you. And you know, that oil and gas fund has steadily decreased, and it's going to decrease, and before long it's going to be gone if we don't watch how we're spending it.
So we need to consider alternative sources of funding for these water and sewer projects. And we have some ideas that we'll present to the commission at a later date.
I should have done it before the day.
Well, I didn't know you had water and
I
sewer.
see no one else that wishes to speak. We're going to vote on the substitute motion. Mr. Clerk.
Read it.
The motion is to appropriate $475,000 from the general fund to the Greenwood Sewer Fund project.
Okay. So,
I thought you said 400.
I thought he said 450.
Let's hear that.
475,000.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me?
475.
475, the correct number,
Yes, to transfer to the capital outlay fund.
and transfer to the capital outlay.
Yes, sir.
That passes 11 to 1. Okay, now, we go back to the original motion.
You got fun.
I got a note.
Got no? In this one? Okay. The other substitute motion.
My next substitute motion is to allocate $725,000 for the law enforcement program for the Caddo Parish.
That's the sheet that you...
Yes.
Second.
With a amendment stating that if these funds are allocated, we will wait for a state attorney general's opinion before any funds are transferred.
You got that?
No, I need to state that again, because it's not very specific.
$725,000 for the law enforcement of Caddo Parish. That means north, south, east, and west.
Waiting on the Attorney General.
On this sheet right here.
On this sheet.
Who was the second?
Second by Commissioner Bowe. All right, so as the maker of the motion, you'd like to say.
This has come up in a couple of discussions throughout the years as far as the city of Shreveport, the small towns around. Law enforcement is feeling some bites. City of Shreveport is really feeling it. We are here to protect and serve the citizens of Caddo Parish. Now, whether that's with the Sheriff's Department or the Blanchard or Greenwood or Halston, Morningsport, Oil City, Rodessa, Vivian, we got this idea, and at first we wanted just to do City of Shreveport, but then we started talking about, well, there's more law enforcement needs up and down Caddo Parish. So to be fair about it, we took the population of each town and took it out where it would end up, except for the Sheriff's Department. And the Sheriff's Department has already, I've already spoken to him. He would take this money and put it to good use for body cameras, one car, and a special project through law enforcement.
They want to build a fence.
So, as a City of Shreveport, law enforcement, they're in dire need of cars. How many cars, how many body cameras can they buy? Don't know. But I can tell you in Southern Hills, when we only have two squad cars in that area at any given time, that ain't making it. The other night, 2 weeks ago, I was at a restaurant and 2 officers come pulling up in a pickup truck with the emblem police department on side. They were using the mounted patrol pickup and patrol because the cars are that bad of shape. Now, this is a one-time deal. I look at the money spent here is not only helping these communities with law enforcement, but it's helping us as a whole. Now, should it be done? Should it have been done a long time ago? Yes. But as time goes on, and I apologize to the administration, I love them to death. I've done my share of, carrying water, but now it's time to look at a project that helps all of Caddo Parish. And it's strictly for law enforcement. So if Vivian gets it up, gets something up there, and they have law enforcement, well, they can put it toward that. After the Attorney General's comments back to us. You'll see on the second page is from Roland Dortes from the Police Bureau Association, and he's basically given us some ideas of how this money could work. And our attorneys have taken that, looked at it, and has already contacted the Attorney General saying that they would be writing a letter of recommendation or to get a letter of recommendation either for or against. City of Shreveport included, right? Yeah. This is a one-time deal. I mean, realistically, I look at it, you never can have too much law enforcement. You never can help these guys out enough. Now, when we're talking about body cameras, vehicles, projects, it's just needed. We've never done this before. Just like Mr. Escadade said a minute ago, sometimes you got to think outside the box to make something good. Is everybody happy with this? No. I can understand that because we're trying to help somebody else out. But the way I look at it is, if you don't do something and open up that can of worms, who else is going to do it? I've been sitting here for 12 years, and every year all we want is a balanced budget. Well, our budget is balanced, people. Let's do the right thing for once.
That's right.
Work with the cities and the little towns and say, hey, look, we're there with you. We know what you go through day in, day out. City of Greenwood, I mean, not only is their water a problem, their equipment's a problem. They don't have the tax money to go out and do things or get stuff that they need simply because, I mean, they only got 3,600 people living there. But with the water and the sewer, that provides growth. With growth, their police department grows in need. So look at it. I mean, I've talked to probably 9, 10 of y'all. Some of y'all like it, some of you didn't. I can understand that. But in the bottom line of seeing things, this is just not helping us as a whole. is helping Caddo Parish, City of Shreveport, the Sheriff's Department, and all these small little towns in one way or another. So, like I said, do I want to take it out of this fund? No, but over a period of time, we can always put money back in. We always have, and we just invested in a building downtown of how much?
Come on.
Million?
Which building, sir?
The one that's being remodeled.
600,000 was the loan.
Oh, the loan.
Yeah, we got this.
Okay, that loan is predicated over a 10-year loan.
With,
Y'all haven't
This
voted
is-
on
this is-
that
yeah,
yet.
so-
You haven't
yeah,
voted
right.
on
The
that
spending
yet.
I'm just stating. That's coming up, where we're giving to a project for a apartment complex downtown. So, and the payback on that is only if it's fully, all the apartments are taken care of or rented out.
Fully occupied.
Thank you. So we do things off on one hand, it sounds great. On the other hand, well, you know, we can't do this. Well, I say, you know, it's time to do something else.
How much
That'll be 725,000.
Covers all of those that are listed.
Covers
right
all
here.
those that are
This
listed.
is 1.2
It'll cover the Sheriff's Department for 100, City of Shreveport for 500, and then your small Belcher, 2,500, Blanchard, 750, and so on.
Written down.
Right.
It says 1.2.
And
That's my question.
that'll be mine for right now.
Well, as the second, you want to say anything?
Let's come up.
Yeah.
Real brief, I just want to continue really with what he said, and it goes with what we're doing in the town of Greenwood. This is a one-time deal, and it's not a let's just spend money. This is really an investment. I know, like Commissioner Anderson said, and the other ones in our community, we do work hard. And there's another thing, even though with law enforcement, we need to make sure we have some of the best things that we can have while we are able to. And yes, it may be the city's quote unquote responsibility to take care of this, but they're not in a position to do so. And we're not doing this as something for them, we're doing something for us. Because in my community, I want to make sure the people that's protecting me and the citizens of District 5 are represented well and are able to come on time and not have to worry about their car or vehicle breaking down because they can't get to the scene of a crime. And so I think it's best that we just look at this overall and see how it's going to benefit all of us. And so I'm sorry, most of my area is urban. This is going to benefit them, and most everybody else is going to benefit the entire parish. So, I mean, if you are afraid to do so, to jump out and do something that is not of the norm, then that's on you. If you're afraid to look beyond progression and not do the same thing we've always done, and then we wonder why we get the same result, that's on you. I'm going to go for this because I want better, and we deserve better, and you should too. Thank you.
Commissioner Lynn.
I'm going to vote in favor of this. I do have a couple of questions. Do any of these small towns, are they already policed by the sheriff's department?
No.
None of them. Okay.
Well, I mean, the sheriff will come in there and, you know, help them if they need, just like they would come inside the city of Shreveport, but each one and every one of them have their own chief of police or chief of police and police cars and police department.
And I would like to look at, you know, farther down the line, if, I don't know if the sheriff's department could police all of them. That would seem like that would make more sense, almost.
Some of them, I mean, I can explain all that to you after the
Okay.
meeting.
Is there a limit on what this can be used for? Is this limited to automobiles and for body cameras, or is this whatever you think? I realize that for $2,000 you're not going to get an automobile.
No. Basically, this is for law enforcement. When they are allocated the money, each individual like Belcher, Greenwood, or whoever can look at their funds that they're given and use them the best they can.
Do we have any kind of oversight committee? Now, I don't want to pull any respect from anybody, but at the same time, I would hate for our money to be allocated and all of a sudden we realize that somebody's got a gold-plated whatever.
No. I mean, they will have to give back to us, and I'm sure
Okay.
the Attorney General will write in their opinion, basically, that they'll have to show us where the money was spent. just like the sheriff's department, he sent me a letter stating that body cameras, one car for special use, and then another project would take up his 100,000.
May I add, well, it's too late for me to do it now, but anyway, I would hope that we get a itemized receipt of everything that was purchased that looked as good as Lawrence Guidry's receipt yesterday on the Caddo Community Action Agency.
I'll make that one on my next round.
Thank you. That
probably can.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think we need an Attorney General opinion myself. I think we can have an intergovernment agreement with a government entity, another government body can enter into an intergovernment agreement without an Attorney General opinion. That's normal practice. So why we have to have an Attorney General opinion anyway? But be as it may, with the state of America when it comes to police and citizens across this country, one of the things that we have to do is rebuild the trust and relationship back with the police department throughout our country. We're seeing all across this country, especially in the African American community, how we need to build trust and build relationship back with our men and women who serve and protect us. But also the men and women who serve and protect us are family and people part of the community as well. So this is an excellent, long overdue idea for us concerned because it's a win-win for everybody and it's a one-time funding. And we can't afford to neglect our partnership. Or we truly, my brothers and my sisters, keep in this part of the community. So I'm excited to know that we are reaching beyond party, racial, governmental lines and doing something for the good of mankind throughout this parish. And I just want to commend the visionary, the person who has the vision to do that, because it's a shared responsibility. You never know when I may be driving up the north. You remember me? I helped got the money for y'all down south. Don't forget about me. But be as it may, we need to build better police and people, citizen relationship in America, especially down south, with the state of what's going on in our country. So I like the fact that we are moving forward, thinking outside the box. We're not being traditional. These are non-traditional methods that we're using to build a better working relationship. Plus, let's look at economic development. Two things business look for when they come here are they safe. They want to know whether they're safe, they got good education, good infrastructure, to do economic development. So this would be a good tool to use to promote this parish and this whole city, that everybody feels safe in the four corners of our parish. So I just can't say enough about working with our men and women who serve and protect, who go out every day to make the city safe. So I'm going to be supporting this and hope that we don't need to wait on an Attorney General's opinion, because we have within the Constitution to be able to have intergovernmental agreements. We can do the same thing like Long Guidry did, just make it transparent, break down what they spend it on. That's it. Why we have to, what we hired attorneys for, what we got to have Attorney General opinion? You know, I mean, it don't make sense to me, because they could make an intelligent, wise decision, as far as I'm concerned. So this is good. Stand behind our men and women and respect the badge, but also we need to let the badge respect the people. So let's move forward and let's go on this one. Let's don't wait and study, turn a general opinion. By that time comes, something may happen. You know how long those takes? It may be 6 months from now. So let's move forward on this. Bypass the Attorney General opinion. And let's move forward and get these resources to our men and women to those towns. Thank you.
All right, I talked to Commissioner Cox. My question's been answered.
Commissioner Evans.
I hear Mr. Cox hollering, we. I thought I heard him say, I talked to 9 or 10 of y'all. You didn't talk to me.
We had lunch.
You know? What?
We had lunch and you said no.
No, not about no policing issue. We had lunch about the sewer.
And cars.
I'm 69, but I don't have amnesia.
I can tell you.
But look, listen, I'm not going to beat for this. You know, everybody coming out with these swan songs and these falling off into the sunset motions. I think the people that's coming in need to have some input on this. My citizens will have some questions relative to this. You know, the sheriff polices the areas of the rural in my district. Of course, Greenwood have their police department, and I hadn't heard anything any needs that Mayor Stavage or Veronica or the chief had related to me relative to these issues. They had just gotten a good deal on some police vehicles from Bossier City. And also, I've been privy to some information relative to the Police Jury Association. We've been making a concerted effort that the more affluent parishes, when they get new equipment, be it police vehicles, law enforcement vehicles, tools that can be used, equipment for roads and bridges, that they would in turn turn around and give first shot of it to the parishes that are less fortunate as we are. This is an issue that I think we need to look at in depth. And I've heard time and time again where this didn't come through a committee, but this is something that needs to come through a committee. We all need to have a say in this. You know, we need to stop this when I can get out here and count to 7 with my handful of friends or something. You know, to hell with everybody else. And we're talking about being inclusive. Well, everyone needs to know about this. My constituents need to know about this too, because we have some issues within the areas that are really governed by the city, as well as by the parish, as well as by the town of Greenwood, which is incorporated within my district. So I'm not going to be supportive of this. This needs to have a little more study. Let's don't end up with this culling our little handful of friends and getting us a majority vote and get something through, while we are swan soning out here and going graceful in the sunset, and the one that remain up here on this dais will have to deal with it in the future. We need to put more thought into it. Thank you.
Mr. Thibodeau.
One of the things that I've always had a concern about since I've been on the commission is that many people pay taxes in the urban districts, and because the way we were set up, and we happen to have a city that doesn't have any money, that there were opportunities where we could make life better for all the citizens in this parish, but because of the responsibilities that have been delegated to the parish or to the city that sometimes kept us from doing it. I think this gives us a great opportunity to help the urban districts, and I'm going to vote to support it because this, in effect, except for, well, I'm going to take the ones that Mr. Epperson doesn't want and put it in district.
You support the police. You support the police, but not the poor people. That's all right. Y'all leave them alone. Continue.
I had also mentioned to you, and this could be put into cooperative agreement, and if you will agree to add it to your motion, that on any vehicle of any kind,
yes,
whether a car or an RV or anything that a police department buys, I'd like to see a sign that's large enough to read that says donated by the Caddo Parish Commission, because I think that's important, that everybody understands that we're cooperating, we're trying to cooperate with the city to make life better for everybody. And I want to be sure that at least one car is dedicated to each of the 12 districts, so that everybody gets to see a new car in their district. And we had talked about that the parish would be given back the salvage value when those cars were traded in.
Right.
And I think we need to put that down too. So if you would accept those as part of the cooperative agreement, I don't need to make an amendment on it.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Cordell.
All right, thank you. Like I spoke earlier about preservation and progress, you know, any place you go where there's a thriving city, there's a thriving county, because parish is only in Louisiana, there's a spirit of collaboration and people working together. And to that end, I am thrilled that Mr. Thibodeau is on board with this ordinance. And as a segue to that, he intimated about the urban communities. And what I would like to see added to this ordinance is that we do a pilot program that I've researched, community policing. Now, I'm not talking about community police and not to offend anybody, that we have a prayer visual and we pray and we meet. I'm talking about community policing that actually houses police officers, Caddo officers in a home in high crime areas where there's an identifiable problem. There's some problems in my district on several streets where they've had some murders and had some shootings, but we can actually put the person in the district, in a home, for a 90-day period of time and see how that process works. And I think more than anything, that's needed in the urban community. So in a spirit of collaboration, I'd like to see that added. And if such, I can be on board with it.
Would that be within the city of Shreveport?
City of Shreveport.
Okay. The attorney's saying we can't do that. We would have to get with the mayor on that.
Yeah, that'd be up to them.
We'd have to get with the mayor.
That's another meeting.
Well, we're gonna need that attorney. We're gonna need that attorney general opinion. So it'll be a.
But she can give you opinion on that.
All right, Commissioner Watts.
Okay.
Did you send that?
No, actually, I'm coming back to you.
Oh.
I'm coming back to you.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, great, thank you. We still talking about the same thing, I take it? Okay, yes, I am going to support this. I think that if Shreveport has a problem, then Caddo has a problem. And I think that this is a great project for us to begin in helping a city who is in dire need. And my constituents happen to live in Shreveport as well as Caddo Parish. And they don't understand the difference between what the parish does and what the city does and the entities. So this is something that I'm going to support because they do need it. People in my district, just like in District 5, have those same issues with the police not arriving in a proper manner because they don't have proper transportation. They need those body cameras, you know, to alleviate some of the things that they're dealing with police brutality. So yes, I am going to support this.
Okay. Talk to you? Talk to me?
For me? No. I can't recall.
Yes, you have.
Donna's over here saying, yes, he did.
I'll put you on the second line. As the first time for me, I'll say a few things. This summer, I actually called a meeting with Dr. Wilson, the mayor, the city marshal, the sheriff, the city police, chief of police, and they had some staff there to see what we could do to help out the law enforcement because we had a spike in crime over the summer. And this spike happens basically every year. So I was trying to see what could we do as a parish, as a governing body, to help them to try to get ahead of this spike in crime. Well, as a result of that, we got a letter from the city for $2.9 million to buy 90 police cars, which wasn't what I was actually looking for as what we could help. Because what I was looking at is maybe we could do the body cameras, which are needed, bulletproof vests, which are needed, and any of the type special equipment that they might need to do their jobs to get to the crime scene a lot sooner or to find out what's going on before a crime actually happens. Well, Commissioner Cox, me and him talked, and he actually had another meeting to try to tone it down from the 2.9 and what can actually need to be done. And this is sort of a compromise with that because we also included the other outreaching cities in the parish. And I want to commend him for the work he's done to try to see what's basically needed in each one of the areas. I'm going to support it because I've been in discussion with one of my constituents, and their concern is Shreveport is unsafe. And he doesn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. By doing this, it helps to see some kind of light at the end of the tunnel because we're putting extra dollars into the law enforcement agencies for them to do what they can to deter crime. A lot of the crime that's been happening in the city of Shreveport is those domestic disputes in which people argue and the next minute somebody pulls out a gun and shoots somebody. I mean, we even had one person ask a person not to smoke in a particular area. They went outside, came back in and shot them. So we're living in a new time, and this time, you know, a lot of things that happen is out of our control, and it's in somebody else's control. And so we need to try to see what we can do that's humanly possible to try to deter that. The person I've been talking to has been talking about going with guardian angels, using that as a way. But, you know, my deal with that is, why put somebody else that's not professionally trained in harm's danger? You know, guardian angels typically are unarmed, and so if someone is shooting at a law enforcement officer, what you think they're gonna do with a volunteer that's out there? So, excuse me, I'm scared. So, you know, this.
Well, you own the date, Doc.
For me, I think it's better to try to beef up what we already have, and this money might free up where they can actually hire some additional officers, put some more officers on the street to try to get into those areas where they know that they have high crime. Now, also, we need the community's input, because without a strong community watch, a community outreach, neighborhood association, whatever you want to call it, if you don't have that, then it still doesn't do any good to have law enforcement, because you're still going to have those crimes that's going to happen instantaneously. But if you know that these people are arguing, and you can hear them from your house, and you in your house, and you hear people arguing, go ahead and call the police. You know, let the police come, and then at that point in time, it can either be resolved by having one of them two to leave the house, or, you know, something. So, I'm in favor of it, and I'm gonna stop. Commissioner Escalade, have you talked?
Come on, Justin.
Go ahead.
I just sitting here listening to all this and our meeting today, it seems obvious to me, what I've realized for a long time, is that I guess the new era of government, with governments, everybody's struggling. The city's struggling, can't do what it needs to do. So what happens? Take up their slack. The state's struggling, can't support our local universities. We pick up the slack. School board failing. They come with, even though they got a $465 million budget, can't do their job. They want to pick up the slack. You know, little towns are struggling. Pick up the slack. Seems like the only people that got it together, Caddo Parish and the Sheriff's Department. We manage our houses fiscally. We got money in the bank. We spend prudently. We take care of business. We don't have to look back. I've never heard a better case for consolidated government. I don't know if you'll ever hear one. Thank you.
Mr. Cox, second time.
Real quick, and that was a good point, because there's a lot of parishes going to that. 12 years ago, well, I'll even go back further than that. We used to watch the news because they would come to this commission's meeting to see who's going to fight who, either in the hall, at the old building, at the hall, at the elevator, and if I'm lying, I'm down. This was a office that was in disarray. 12 years from then to now, we are physically able. We are looked upon from the whole state as being, if not the best parish, one of the best. Physically, the way we run it, the way we treat our people, and the way we look after our people. So my swan dive has never been about an issue of today. When I took oath 12 years ago, that was my swan dive, because I'm putting myself out there for the people, not only of District 10, but all of Caddo Parish. That's my swan dive. And I'd like for y'all to support this. Thank you.
Mr. Lynn.
I was just going to touch base on the community policing. I had a house that I found out there was a crack house across the street from it, and I offered my house to every single police officer around to move into it for free, completely free, for as long as they wanted to live there. And I couldn't find anybody to move in it. And so even though we might have a program where a police officer gets a house for free, we can't force them to live in those houses.
Maybe you need to move to a better neighborhood.
Right. They did. They moved to a better neighborhood. Yeah.
Thibodeau neighborhood. Ain't no crime.
I'm staying in my neighborhood. I love my neighborhood. That's all. Thank you.
He shut up then, didn't he?
Basically, what I wanted to let everybody know, I heard a lot of comments, and it was suggested by me that any appropriation be made subject to an Attorney General's opinion for this reason.
Right.
And that is that there is a real legal question as to whether or not you can give to other entities funds to do something that you as an entity cannot do. We've had this come up before, I believe, in a public works arena. And the Parish Commission could not create a law enforcement entity. So there's a question as to whether or not a general public safety, health, and welfare power would translate into specific powers that are actually given to another different entity, which are the sheriff. The municipalities have the power within the city, but that's not something that's granted to the parishes. And so that is the reason to request the Attorney General's opinion.
Okay. Commissioner Thibodeau.
Was Mr. Cawthorn's suggestion put into your motion?
No.
Okay. I think it's a good idea because we've got, what, about 6,000 adjudicated houses, but I'd like to see it come as a separate issue so we know exactly what you're proposing.
President, I can answer him.
And that's all I want to know if it was in the
You can
motion.
answer that, but you can't talk because you ain't on the booth.
That's all.
I
That's
can
all
answer him though?
You can answer him.
What we're gonna do, if this does pass, Mr. Lynn and I will go to the mayor and ask them about the portion of the money that they get. Can that go towards some program like that?
And Mr. Cawthorn.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Lynn.
That's what he's talking about.
Oh, you said Mr. Lynn.
All three of us.
Mr. Cawthorn.
Sorry, Mr. Lynn.
He's showing you respect. He's
Yeah.
telling you Mr. Lynn.
Yeah.
All right.
For the record, I'm Lynn Cawthorn.
Okay.
For the record, he's Mr. Lynn Cawthorn.
Let me just say, over the years, all of our life, Ken and others, we've been promoting, crime prevention, crime fighting initiative for years and years and years. But I would like to share some with you, Commissioner Carthon. When Commissioner Bowman had a event on his street, he had a candlelight, and we're baptized out of that, out of Juvenile Justice Committee with a project called Project Impact. It's improving, mobilizing police and action with the community together. Project Impact. Instead of more community-oriented policing, more community-oriented preaching. Because of the distrust that's been going on over the years in the community, most of the young preachers, they can reach them, they can teach them because they preach to them. And they build trust because they teach in those schools. So we need to have the Young Preachers Association, Alliance, lined up with the community-oriented policing to be able to go in the community with them, the scooters, whatever the little mobile vehicle thing they have where they ride on, get out their cars and get in contact. Back when I was growing up, they got out their cars and walked and touched us. They're not doing it anymore. So they get out their car, knock on the doors and find out what's going on and reach those people in the community, like Commissioner Johnson said. Neighborhood watch program, community-oriented policing with community-oriented preaching. It's got to be the young preachers that can relate to this generation. A lot of the people that's trying to reach the generation are out of touch. They don't understand them. But the young preachers do understand them, and the young police officers do understand, but they're close to their age. So maybe we need to have right-sized people in the right way, smart government, smart policing, by putting young police officers with young preachers to go back to the community, understand the hip-hop culture, because they're disconnected right now. I don't understand some of them, but Commissioner Bowman understands them. The young man coming and taking my place, he understands. So a lot of times we're out of touch and they're in touch. So we need to utilize the resources we have. And I believe community-oriented preaching, the community policing can work together. And I believe Project Impact, improving, mobilizing police action with the community together, is a model that's already in place, just need to be implemented, that the young preachers already have it. So let's work with Pastor Porter and that group. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already in motion. So get with Pastor Porter. It was baptized out of your meeting at your church, at the church New Elizabeth, I believe. And I believe we have something in place. We just need to put some feet behind it and move forward. And not just police cars, but those new machines that they have. I don't know what is it called?
Hoverboard.
Hoverboard.
Put police officers on that and let them just ride through the neighborhood. Not, hey, get to know you, get acquainted. Let them dance with them on the street, block parties, whatever it takes, because they're not connected. They don't trust them, and they don't trust them. We got to build trust and build relationships. That program will work, just got to implement it. Commissioner Bowman, before I leave, I'm giving you that charge.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to make sure that if this gets the Attorney General's approval and we do the cooperative endeavor agreement, that we also get a detailed report on what was purchased.
Sure.
No one else to talk, let's vote on the substitute motion. Mr. Clerk.
To appropriate $725,000 to the law enforcement project from the general fund and transfer it to the capital fund.
Good job.
For the purpose of law enforcement equipment.
Yeah, it's a law enforcement project.
Right.
All right. No one, let's vote. That passes 11-1. Okay, any other? All right.
Good now.
So let's go to, hold on, let's go to the ordinance number 5523 as amended and vote on it. That passes 12-0.
Let's move
So
to,
can we take a 10-minute break?
Yes.
Can we get through the next part of it really fast when we come back?
Yes, we will try. Definitely. We've been trying for the longest.
Do whatever you say.
All right, let's take a 10-minute break.
Thank you, everybody. Keep rolling, baby. Keep rolling.
Come on, everybody, so we go back, so we can get this over with.
Please. I'll take a hamburger pizza. You all right? He giving away his $20,000.
we've got a quorum.
Okay, in an attempt to try to make that we've done something today, we'll kind of go down each one of the ordinance, and if nobody has anything to add, we'll go ahead and make a motion and second those to get them going, and then we'll go back to the ones in which we want to substitute. Okay? Yes, sir. Ordinance number 5524.
The ordinance 5524, Public Works Fund.
So moved. Anything to add to that? All right, got a motion by Commissioner Dominique, seconded by Commissioner Cox to accept ordinance number 5524. Let's vote on it. That passes 12-0.
Ordinance number 5525, Building Maintenance Fund.
So moved.
Second. Then moved by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Bowman. Anybody have anything on that one? All right, let's vote. Oh, Commissioner Thibodeau.
Yeah, I'd like to englobe those 55, 25, 26, 27, and 28.
Second.
So moved.
No.
Second.
28, 27, 26, and 25?
26, 27, 28. And 25.
25, 26, 27, 28.
Y'all want to say it all together?
Anybody got anything to add on those?
Not 20, 29, I got some.
Okay, so be good for 25 through 28.
That's correct.
All right. Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, seconded by
Dominic.
Dominique to englobo ordinance number 5525, 5526, 5527, 5528. Let's vote. That passes 12-0.
All right. Ordinance 5529, Juvenile Justice Fund.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Bowman.
I got an amendment to it.
Okay. Right. What the? How you got it?
A substitute motion is to amend ordinance number 5229, the Juvenile Justice Fund. 5529, Juvenile Justice, and ordinance number 5533, the Criminal Justice Fund. To provide an appropriation of $100,000 for Swag Nation and be transferred from the Criminal Justice Fund to Juvenile Justice Fund. That's right? Is that correct, administration? The way it should be.
Did you get that, Todd?
Okay, I've got, who was the second?
That was part of the motion.
He made a motion and amended it.
Is there a second? All right, amending ordinance number 5529, juvenile justice fund, and ordinance 5533, criminal justice fund, providing appropriation of $100,000 for Swag Nation. Okay, transferred from criminal justice to juvenile justice fund.
All right. Everybody clear? No. Transferred from the criminal justice fund to the juvenile justice fund. Like it always has been.
Second. Talk, where we got?
As the maker of the motion,
We didn't talk enough, unless I have
as
to.
the second,
Bowman,
Yeah.
anything to say?
Yeah, I wanted to make an amendment, so.
okay. Making an amendment to the motion. All right.
Okay.
He already has an amendment
Already
in that
amended.
motion.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the board, was he? He was on the board.
Go ahead, Thibodeau. Push the button.
Okay, I'd say forget the merits of the organization for right now. And we are in a legal battle of sorts. And I think until that legal battle has been taken care of, I think we would be very unwise to
Say something now.
fund this organization for anything. I mean, I'll be gone and other people will be gone by the time the legal portion of it's over, and I think at that time, that would be the time for the commission to determine the merits of the organization. But I think we are inviting the feds to come in and take a real heavy-duty look at us. I think we're inviting media to kill us on this because it's not something, it's just unwise to be doing it at this time until it's all been cleared. And that's what I have to say. Forget about the merits. Just consider what is going on right now.
Commissioner Bowman.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I want to make an amendment to that motion instead of the 100,000. And because of things that are going on, I still think it's a good program and that we should have something going. So I would like to make an amendment for maybe $15,000 to be used, and that way the program can still be active, and we can come back and see whatever from there. Can I have a second? I don't think I have 100.
Second.
All right, so as an amendment to the substitute motion, we have 15,000 to be awarded instead of 100,000. As that maker, you want to say something?
I mean, that's it. I don't think it's overall. I understand about everything that's going on behind the legality, but I know that I want this program to still get some support, you know, because of what it's doing beyond anything else. And like I said, the politics and everything else behind the scenes. Just to take it all away, I don't think it would be good. But I think with this, since they're now in a new, would you say, for-profit status as well, we can now, this at least will be going towards it and not for trying to supply, and it will get less scrutiny from media and people saying that we're trying to pay this and do all this other stuff with what's going, you know, for salaries and stuff, and that's not true. I think this, since they're for-profit, we can now at least give them something and they can continue to exist versus the 100,000, which I know that none of you all were going to support and vote. Honest. So if we're going to do something, let's just do the 15, because no one up here really was going to vote for 100,000. Just calling it like it is.
Commissioner Carter. As
You second it, you want to
say anything as a second?
Well, actually, I want to go back to the comments that Mr. Thibodeau, well, actually, when he intimated that that because we're in a legal situation right now, it would invite scrutiny. What's from the legal department? What's your stance on that?
Commissioner, as far as that is concerned, the parish, I guess, does not have a dog in the hunt unless it would be considered a victim. There may be situations that surround, I guess, the initial passage of it back when it was first done.
Okay.
It's my understanding that there is a trial coming up. Some of you could be subpoenaed for that. I don't know. And that, but I mean, it would be a situation where the parish would be considered either witnesses or victim.
So that's either way. That's if we do the 15 Commissioner Bowden's suggestion.
Well, see, you asked about the situation that is currently taking place. This would, I do not think would have anything to do with that. Whether it would create any kind of other situation, I don't know.
Okay.
All right, Commissioner Lynch.
And this I guess for legal or for accounting, has the NGO fund or juvenile justice fund, excuse me, I guess we're under juvenile justice fund, has that gone towards for-profits in the past? Have we spent money on a for-profit?
That has changed.
Commissioner, there has, I guess I wouldn't say, if you have, it's probably been done out of your economic development fund. There's no prohibition against spending with a for-profit.
Okay, that's all.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just feel that because of not only the merits, that certainly because of personal issues, it shouldn't affect corporation as a whole. Clay has been very open and honest about the relationship Swag Nation has as a whole. Has nothing to do with Commissioner Williams. A person is innocent to proven guilty, and the organization is not on trial either. So why are we going to prohibit a program that's helping all of the children, especially in the entire parish, not just an urban district, but the entire parish are being referred by that juvenile service department. We don't select who comes, who goes, who do whatever. They does it. The board, the administration has been very clear exactly what the role of Swag Nation is. It always has been a vendor that has a professional contract with liability insurance. It's the only vendor that has been under this scrutiny over the last 2 years. It was allocated 3 years in a row. And we know why all this happened. I don't need to get into that story there. Let's be real. If we're going to be real about it. 15,000, you want to put a Band-Aid on a compound fracture. That ain't work. We told you we see the most severe, rough kids. Not the kids that are in the Boy Scouts. We see kids are on their way to Angola, on their way to CCC. You save one child, that's almost $100,000 right there, saving, investing in one child. These are poor children, don't have no other choice, but end up from little prison into big prison. Louisiana has the highest per capita incarceration in the world. And people that are locked up in the jail look like me and most of you in this room. Statistics don't lie. Is you for crime prevention or are you for crime detention? Or are you for incarceration? Or are you for prevention? The merits are there. They have reorganized their structure, a fresh start, a new business. Do make mistakes. How many of you been in business haven't made a mistake in your business? And how it works? Let's be real. Everybody has. If you've been in business, I've been in the business, been out of business. Been in the business, been out of business. So let's not use reason why not to fund it, but using reason why you should fund it. It has nothing to do with myself personally. It has to do something with the organization who came down there, had a new organization structure of business people running a business, running a franchise. Never has been a nonprofit. It is a franchise that's been vetted by this administration. If we got one of the highest general obligation bond rating in America, we got some wise, smart, competent people that work for this body. So what's the real reason why you don't want to support? Poor children,
You just voted 700 some thousand support the police department, but you can't support poor children that can't afford to get the service that they need. These the same kids are putting guns on your streets in the community. These are our children. They're not Caddo Parish School. They're not the city. They're ours. They're going to end up back in our lap anyway. Everybody make mistakes, but everybody deserves a second chance. Give these people a second chance to get it right. We know you're going to be like watchdogs. We already knew that from day one. Clay sat down and organized probation department, this program with Clay Walker and his staff. Everything was done openly and publicly. Nothing to hide. Nothing to hide. If you invest in a corporation, like most of you do, you're entitled to reimbursement. Attorney General opinion came back. As long as he's not compensated, he can vote on the money, he can serve on the board. She did an Attorney General opinion. It came back. Came back as a non-profit though, but it's a for-profit. But even then it said that nothing was done wrong. Am I right, Ms. Fraser? That Attorney General opinion came back?
It was an ethics. It was
Ethics. I'm saying, yeah, ethics opinion.
It was an ethics opinion that said you could serve on the board if it was a non-profit organization.
It was even then, if it was a non-profit, it still was nothing done wrong because I can serve on the board, serve on juvenile, and vote on it as long as I'm not compensated. We serve on all kind of boards and we're not compensated. But it has nothing to do with being reimbursed. That is not a crime. That will be decided in the cornerstones of a building. When a person is innocent to proven guilty. Have some courage, not Michael. Forget about me. Forget about the children that came before that y'all saw, sitting down there, and the people telling you what happened to their life. People call me open daily, because they can't get the help they need. You don't need to put a Band-Aid on a compound fracture. Just throwing fire, that's not good. It works. What these kids get for this fair market value, it costs almost $1,500 for a battalion type program if you would have put these kids in a battalion. That's what it costs. These kids are not ending back up in that jail over there. The diversion program that this young man has implemented have reduced the recidivism rate in the juvenile justice system. Got one of the best juvenile service systems in America, right in Caddo Parish, because of what we've been doing, not locking kids up. Alternative to incarceration. The last 4 years, we invested over $8 million in faith-based and in community-based organizations. In the NGO fund, $2 million a year almost. Tax dollars well spent. Most of the issues in urban are social issues. We can't spend them on roads, streets, and bridges, and infrastructure. The law and the Constitution won't let us. So stop coming with these draw line excuses. Draw the line in the sand and have some courage and step up for the children. I am gone on with my life in the private sector. Don't leave the kids behind and don't leave them out. The parents are not on trial. They're not a victim. They're not a victim. They say Swag Nation was a victim. So I hope that we don't be sidetracked by this rhetoric or this propaganda or this posturing, that you have some courage and backbone to stand up for a program that's worked, that has got a National Achievement Award for the work it's done. This is a franchise that other cities want in their neighborhoods, in their cities. This is a business. Never had been a nonprofit. Misinterpretation. And I think it's unfair to put all of it together. Vote for the children and move forward. They came and they corrected everything they've done, possibly mistakes. Reorganization struggle with good business leaders running the program. That's what it needs. Thank you.
Mr. Cox.
You know, we've had programs come along that I didn't like. One of them was Biz Camp. But every year, Biz Camp came up every year. Biz Camp got their money. Yesterday, we had a gentleman come in from Dallas, Texas, who I spoke with at length, just trying to find out who he was and what he was and why he was here. And you know, they brought him down as far as being a new member of this organization to help the kids out. And I asked him his intent, and his intent is basically moving here and working his business and working with this organization. I told Mike that it was going to be hard for him to get this passed before yesterday. And then I met with Mr. I believe I'm pronouncing his name right, Mata. And that was about a 30-minute conversation that he and I had. And for what he and his organization or his church background has done in Grapevine, Texas, I'm willing to give him a shot. Now, I know a lot of jaws are dropping right now, but I'm looking at it as if it's a change of the guard is what this organization needs. I think bringing in Mr. Mott is probably what's going to make this kickstart. And in doing so, change the image and maybe help a kid or two. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Commissioner Evans.
It appears as though the deal that we passed, the $700,000 for the law enforcement assistance, contingent upon a legal opinion. You know, so you know what the Attorney General said, unless somebody got some inside information as to how it's going to come out. So I'm going to vote to support this and give them an opportunity to move forward.
All right, Commissioner Thibodeau.
I find it hard to believe that there's not some people in this community that can't do the same thing and do it for less money and spend more than just 9 hours. I heard the comment putting a Band-Aid on a compound fracture. If we've got kids that are ready to go down to prison, folks, 9 hours is not going to keep them out of prison. And anybody that believes that is just in la-la land. It's just not going to happen. The program you've got, it's a for-profit program, which means that there has to be a percentage of that money so that that company can make a profit. There will be salaries, there will be travel, and some of the money will be going out of town. I truly believe that for $100,000, you could find 5 teachers who could work with kids for 30, 40, 50 hours for the same $100,000. You would spend 4 times the amount of time with the kids, and you would keep the money local. I don't understand this, and to say that we're not on trial, we're not on trial with a judge. We are on trial with the people in Caddo Parish. It's just very unwise to spend any money with this group. You say they're reorganized. Well, what does that mean? We haven't seen anything about their reorganization or new people. There's not a thing. It's just something we heard. So I'm just asking you, if a majority of the commission wants this company, then at least spend time and wait until all the legal issues are over with, and then you can come back in February or March or whatever and amend the budget and bring them in. But please consider what you're doing. We're not getting nearly what we could get for our money if we allowed it to be done by local people.
All right, I see no one else. Mr. Clerk, would you give us the substitute motion?
Okay, the motion by Mr.
The amended substitute motion?
The motion by Mr. Bowman, second by Mr. Cawthorn, to appropriate $15,000 to Swag Nation from the Criminal Justice Fund and transfer it to the Juvenile Justice Fund.
Okay, let's vote. That failed. All right, so we'll go to the substitute motion.
Well, the motion was to appropriate 100,000 to Swag Nation from the Criminal Justice Fund to the Juvenile Justice Fund.
That also failed. So we go to,
So the ordinance as it was written, ordinance 5529.
all right, I would like to make a substitute motion to include ordinance number 5530, 5536, 5537, 5538, 5539, 5540, 5541, 5542, and 5543. Leave out 32. That's not 32. Thank you.
You read those one more time, please.
Huh?
Read those one more time.
Okay, 5529, 5530, 5536, 5537, 5538, 5539, 5540, 5541, 5542, and 5543.
Second.
Got any amendments to it?
Anybody move that?
Got amendments?
I'd like to remove the reserve trust fund.
What's that? Which one?
Reserve trust fund,
Second.
5537.
No, that's what he's
Okay,
trying to do.
I'll take that one off.
Go ahead and push your request.
I'll
Any
accept
other?
that.
Any other?
Yes, I'd like to make a budget.
Man, that's.
Hold on, I mean, you got no substitutes to those? Everybody's fine with those?
No, he can call 5532.
Oh,
Okay, so let's vote on that. Got a motion by the chair, seconded by Commissioner Lynn. People that's on the board, is this particular motion or something else?
I got an amendment.
To this?
To one of these?
To one of these? Which one?
5535.
We'll take that one off. That one not on.
And they're not on there.
Hey, y'all went through them.
It's not on there.
So you go off the board. Bowman, you don't have any, do you?
No, sir.
part-time?
No, sir.
Oh, it's 32?
From the ones that we talked about.
No, just in 32.
We're not on
32's not on
Okay,
there.
no.
So let's vote. All right, that passes on those. Now we go back to,
We move to 5531, Biomedical Foundation.
31.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dominic, seconded by Commissioner Lynn. And I got a question. Donna, Erica, this is basically pass-through money from the tax mill?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did 31.
No, shit.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
All right, let's vote.
Which one?
5531, biomed.
5531.
Yeah.
Have an amendment on that?
Okay.
No.
That passes.
Next we move to 5532, Riverboat Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner, me. And seconded by Commissioner Thibodeau. All right, I know there's quite a few that's gonna be on the board for this one. No, we got people that want to go. Commissioner Lynn.
Move to amend this for the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association for $127,000.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Lynn, seconded by Commissioner Bowman to amend this to 127,000.
Yeah.
Make the motion.
I don't want to speak on it.
What was that? He wants to increase Broadmoor Neighborhood Association out of the Riverboat Fund to $127,000.
You got a second?
Bowman second.
Oh, you got a second? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now it's time to play.
Can I get a clarification right there?
He wants to increase to the total to 127,000.
Okay, from the 35,000.
From the 35,000 to 127,000.
So you want a $92,000
Increase.
Increase.
That's it.
I want to make a amendment to that particular motion. I would like to take that number not to 127, but to at least 70,000.
Okay.
Second that or nothing. So got a motion to take it to 70,000 and a second by Commissioner Williams. I don't really want to discuss it. Anybody at a second? Carthon, you on the board? Do you want to discuss this or something else?
No, no.
So let's vote on that particular addition.
Okay, clerk to read the motion.
I need a point. Where's this money gonna, it's coming from the riverboat?
It would be coming
Is it
from the
covered?
fund balance, no transfer in
Okay, no
at this
transfer or
time.
anything, okay, I just want to be sure.
Okay, well, yeah, I can work.
All right, let's vote.
Okay, what's the motion we're voting on now?
To 70,000, from 35,000 to 70,000.
So that's 35,000.
Substitute. Well, the
So an
amendment
increase of
comes before-
$35,000.
Right,
Correct.
right. So what was
Let's
it?
vote.
To 70,000?
To 70,000 instead of the 127.
That's cool.
That passes 7-5.
Well,
All right.
Say no. 70. Okay, Commissioner Carthon, you next on the board.
Okay, the Riverboat Fund, to amend the ordinance number 5523 Riverboat Fund to provide an appropriation of $30,900 to urban support, which represents an increase of $1,900 for the parish-wide tutoring program.
Second.
Got a motion to amend urban support by $1,900, seconded by,
1,900, 19,000.
1,900.
oh, okay. It's pretty good. Second by Commissioner Jefferson. Okay, as the maker of the motion, you want to say anything?
Can you explain?
I'm gonna defer to Ms.
Okay. As the second, anything?
No.
Okay, Ms. Watts.
Yeah, I'm on for something else.
But you
He's
don't
on
for
for
this?
something else.
Not this? No. Okay. So let's vote.
Oh, I got a question.
Okay. Well, I can't
Can you
tell.
explain what you saying is increasing it $1,900 from what it is right now in the book? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so what's it read right now?
29 and some change, 29 too.
No, sir. You're trying to increase it to what number?
That's urban.
30,900.
30,900. It needs 5,900. It's in the book for 25,000.
Right, but we only doing the 19.
Okay, I was just making sure it's not a complete
Right.
add-on, it's just increasing a little bit.
So you only want the 19.
1,900.
So you need 26.9.
26.9 would be the motion.
26.9?
26.9.
Urban support.
Mr. Clerk, would you make sure everybody got that?
Yes, sir, it's a motion to increase $1,900 for urban support services, bringing it from what it was, so it's 26.9.
So nobody's on the board on this particular, okay, so let's vote. That passed 12-0, okay? Mr. Bowman, Commissioner Bowman, you was next on the board.
Yes, sir. I wanted to amend ordinance for number 5532 to provide appropriation for $15,000 that was allocated in 2015 that was not used and carry over for the 2016 for Project Seek Incorporation.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. Project C. Got a motion by Commissioner Bowman, seconded by Commissioner Lynn, to take money that was allocated in 2015 for Project Seek and transfer it over into 2016.
Correct, yes, sir.
Anybody on the board for that as the maker of the motion? As the seconder? Let's vote on that.
Stuff come up there.
That passes 12-0. Commissioner Watts, you're on the board next.
Yes, sir, thank you. I would like to amend ordinance number 5532 of the Riverboat Fund to provide appropriation of $20,000 to Shady Grove Missionary Baptist Church to sponsor the 5th annual State of Black Shreveport.
Second.
Thank you.
Been moved by Commissioner Watts and second by Commissioner Lynn to take $20,000 for Shady Grove Missionary Baptist Church as the program. Mr. Clerk, repeat that one.
So motion second to appropriate $20,000 to Shady Grove Missionary Baptist Church.
Okay. As the maker of the motion, you want to say anything?
Will my colleagues join me?
As a second, is there anybody on the board? Doug, you on it for something else?
No, it's not in there, nothing in there right now.
Okay, all right.
Right?
That's not on the board right now.
All right, so let's vote. That passes 8-3-1. All right. Now, see nobody else that's on the board.
I got two more.
I see you on the board now. Go ahead.
All right. Amend ordinance number 532, Riverville Fund to provide an increase in appropriations from 10,000 to 20,000 for women of vision.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Cawthorn to increase women of vision by $10,000 for a total of $20,000. Been seconded by Commissioner Watts. Nobody's on the board for that. Let's vote. That passes 9-3.
Last one.
Okay.
Amend ordinance number 5523, Riverville Fund to provide an appropriation increase of $2,500 for Destiny Community Development Corporation.
Second.
It's ordinance 5532. And seconded by Commissioner Lynn for Destiny to increase it from 5,000 to 10,000. Commissioner.
Wait. It says 7,500.
Oh, was it 75?
No.
$2,500
increase, bringing the total appropriation to $7,500.
Yes, so 75.
It's an increase of 20, it's an increase of 2,500.
Okay.
Correct.
Can you repeat that one so everybody?
Yes.
Motion second to increase, $2,500 increase, appropriate $2,500 to increase the Destiny Community Development Corporation.
Okay. Commissioner Thibodeau.
What is that? You just tell
Oh,
me
Destiny,
couple services are.
Destiny Community Development Corporation, essentially in the summertime, they do a summer camp. And what they're trying to do this year, to add on to what they do in their camp, is a STEM program for some of the inner city kids, where they're gonna be able to, with these additional dollars, be able to bring in a teacher that's gonna be able to provide science, technology, engineering, mathematics as a component to this program they do on an annual basis in the summertime.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, see no one else that wishes to speak, let's vote on that. That passes 11-1. So, no one else is on the board. We'll take the ordinance 5532 as amended and vote on it.
Second. Sorry. I got lost.
10-1.
All right, next we move to ordinance number 5533, Criminal Justice Fund.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, that motion was by Commissioner Dominique, seconded by, I couldn't remember who seconded, Bowman. All right, no one wishes to speak, let's vote on that one. That passes 12-0.
Next we move to 5534, Oil and Gas Fund.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dominique, second by Commissioner Cox. You don't want to speak on that one? Let's vote.
I'm on the board.
Okay, my bad. Gotta be fast. I don't know. Commissioner Watts.
I would like to amend ordinance number 5534, the Oil and Gas Fund, to provide an appropriation of additional $20,000 to the Northwest Louisiana Community Development Corporation.
Second. But that's gonna fall under economic development.
Yeah, ECD.
So we'll hold that one to economic development.
Okay.
Am I right?
That's
Ms.
Yes.
Bryant?
That's good.
Okay. So,
So I got
no
my
additions to
ED.
that one. Let's vote on all in game.
35.
I see now.
That passes 12-0.
Next we move to ordinance 5535, Economic Development Fund.
So moved.
So moved.
Second by, moved by the chair, second by the commissioner.
And I got an amendment.
Okay.
Put in, you want, wait on you.
All right. Go ahead, as the second to go.
I'd like to make an amendment out of 5535, economic development for Cohab to increase them $25,000.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Cox to increase Cohab by $25,000 and seconded by Commissioner Watts.
Real quick.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yes, to make them-
As we've all known over the last few years with this organization, they have went above and beyond. I was just handed this is a new product from one of their students or one of their companies.
Oh, right.
And it is produced, made, and put together here locally. It is fixing to go into 5,000 stores. U-Haul. And it's made here, it's put together by Louisiana Association for the Blind. And this is the kind of work they're doing. And $25,000 will go a long way to make more companies profitable and make Caddo Parish profitable. Thanks, sir.
Okay, that was good.
And
So,
I'm keeping this.
I know.
got a motion to increase Cohab by $25,000. That would take them to $75,000. And a second by Commissioner Watts.
That's correct.
Anybody on the board to talk about that?
My question was answered.
I am.
You on the board?
Just got on the board.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who can answer this question. Okay, it's somebody locally invented it, right? Made by Louisiana Association of the Blind.
Can we bring John up and he can explain it real quick?
I don't know.
You got a question for, your question is about who makes it and all that?
Yeah.
John, come on up, please.
Long, just,
I got pizza ordered, don't worry about it.
Let me see.
this is my 30th anniversary. You see where I'm stuck.
Yeah, next time.
No, I've got, there's tons of them. Do I need to state my name? John Grinley, Cohab, Executive Director, 3635 Green Acres Drive. Yes, it is made here locally. It is made, it's made by a guy named Lee Mallahan who invented it here in Shreveport. It is made at Raytech, put together and produced by the Louisiana Association of the Blind. He is in every hardware and paint store here locally, and he's going national with it with U-Haul and Sherwin-Williams, and also a lot of other
It
big
was
box stores.
developed under your umbrella. I mean, you fought
Correct.
and nurtured this company.
Yes, sir. The last 16, 18 months with
I
him.
want to ask you one question.
Sure.
I don't want you to be taken to it back. I mean, are these employees what I consider, are they paid like the ones at Goodwill, next to nothing?
No, sir. I mean, they're
No. What are their employees paid? What's the status of the blind people making this stuff? Just a question.
I could ask him that. I mean, all I know is it's putting disabled people to work. I mean, that's
Normally,
Louisiana.
my experience has been, and I'm gonna agree with this.
Yeah.
And I'll support this, but that when entities do work like this,
Yeah.
they're abused.
Okay.
Not just in this country, all over the world, and that's my concern.
I understand.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that it's a locally produced product. Don't want to get caught in the weeds on it.
Local abuse, worldwide abuse.
Well, no, I'm just
statewide
saying
abuse
it's-
is abuse. Employee abuse is abuse. Doesn't matter where it happens. It shouldn't happen here. But it's just a question, and maybe in the future, kind of want to know those things.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Thibodeau, you on the board for this particular?
Yeah, I've got a question.
John, you got a question.
What is it that you're going to do specifically with this money?
This money will continue our programs, and actually we've expanded upon our programs. We've actually done some youth programs. We've actually partnered with the ICE program. We've also done the first coding class for adults in workforce development and got those students placed with the automated payroll services.
continue to help startups and help funnel people towards EAP and different programs like that. So we're the front door of entrepreneurship in Shreveport-Bossier, and we're really happy to serve that. And so we're going to expand upon those programs, and it's all in our, I mean, if you have some more specific questions. Understand?
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Commissioner Epperson, you had something on this one?
I just see made in the USA on here. Why not made in Shreveport, Caddo, Parish, Louisiana?
I can prove that for you. It's association bias.
But what I'm saying is.
Come on to the mic, John.
You'll carry the water for me.
Let us package this as such.
Okay, I'll make that note to him that it's
Okay,
made in
so
Shreveport.
you're gonna give us some information relative to the packaging?
Yes, sir.
To put Shreveport, Louisiana, Caddo Parish, as well as the salaries of the persons that.
Yes, sir. I'll have the inventor
Send
come
that
with
to
me
us in
next time.
writing, please.
Yes, sir. I'll send that to everyone, and I'll get the inventor to write up everything, a briefing for you, and that'll be in your inbox. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So nobody else is on the board for that. So, Mr. Clerk.
Motion and second to increase the appropriation of $25,000 to cohabitat, bringing it to $75,000.
All right. Let's vote on that.
Don't send it back to you.
That passes 12-0. I have a substitute motion to increase from ordinance 5535 to increase strategic action council to by $20,000.
Second.
Increase who?
Strategic Action Council.
Second.
SAC. Second. So it's been moved by the chair, second by Commissioner. I don't have anything. You don't have anything. Let's vote.
I know. Nobody pays attention.
20. What? Good job.
Williams. Let's see, Yesterday and Williams. That passes 11-1. Okay, Commissioner Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Amend ordinance number 5535 with the Economic Development Fund to provide an appropriation of additional $20,000 to Northwest Louisiana Community Development Corporation.
Second by Bowman.
Been moved by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Bowman to increase Northwest Louisiana Economic Community Development CDC to by $20,000. Commissioner Thibodeau.
Hey, I just want to bring to your attention that in 2014, they received $25,000. In 2015, they're scheduled to receive $40,000. So this would be giving them a significant increase in a matter of just a year.
And they significantly done the work.
Okay, well taken, Mr. Thibodeau. No one else is on the board?
I got a question.
Yes.
Ms. Watts, can you explain to us what the additional money is for?
Yes, they are getting ready to do some things inside of the boys' facility that they are bringing to full, that they have been working on to help get boys transition from homelessness into homes.
They have to be vetted, anyway, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Commissioner Escudé.
Well, I need to follow up on the question. Do what things? We talking about construction projects? Or what are you talking
No,
about?
because it couldn't, that was the
We
reason
can't,
why.
okay, because
in
we
the-
can't do that. Well,
right.
what things then? Things,
Well, you also have the Road to Home Ownership Program that's
Life
taking
skill.
place. Also, the things to do with Code Red, which goes out and educates about violence and against youth within the community. And so I know they've been doing something on December 12th is their next event.
thank you, that's a good
That's
explanation.
good enough for you, sir?
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. And I
Something
thank
better
all
than
of you in
nothing,
advance for your
anything.
support.
Okay, nobody is on the board for that. Let's vote.
God bless you all.
Dominique. That passes 9-3.
I still love you.
Have one more substitute motion.
The whole thing anyway.
And I kind of got to ask a question before I really make this motion, but is dealing with the biomed, the EAP. I know we got the information from that on how they've been spending the money. And then I know it's also tied to the city as a 2-to-1 ratio. From what my understanding from the city is that they have cut their money. Do we know that number? I've heard 125 and I also heard 150. So, anybody know?
Well, it was cut in half.
It's cut in half. So if it was cut in half, it's down to 125. So that means our match would now be 300,000. As opposed
No,
to,
not necessarily.
according to the ordinance, it says a 2-to-1 ratio with 500,000 being the max. So if they max out, if they do the 250, then our max is 500,000. But if they go down any number, then according to the ordinance, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So if they're at 125, now that makes us at 300,000. So do I need
250?
Yeah, it makes us
250? Well, I'm sorry, 250. So do I need to make a motion to go with that 250, or do it automatically do it because of the ordinance? That's my question before I make a motion.
It would automatically do it because of the ordinance. The ordinance controls.
Okay. All right. So that takes care of that.
Is anybody here from Biomed?
Yeah, we just need to verify.
We'll verify the numbers.
Can we let them speak or answer the question?
It's
already been answered.
About the funding. Now, about the funds that we're using, you know, I've been a opponent of that because they're using the funds basically for salaries. And I feel that, you know, this is a for-profit organization as well. It's basically using 100% or 90-some% for salaries. And our rate of return is not economic development at this present time. Based upon a year and a half and a report that we got, there were 7 companies founded and 30 employees, new employees hired. And you're talking about at least 500,000 from last year, and I don't know how much they got so far this year, but almost over $1 million with 30 employees. And I just don't think that, you know, right now that's not, to me, a good economic development type deal. Maybe, according to the ordinance, the money was supposed to be used towards the program. And to me, using it towards salaries is not using it toward the program, because you can't fund any of the programs because you're paying all the money towards salaries. And we talk about being good stewards of taxpayers' money. How is that being stewards of taxpayers' money? When also, during the tax renewal, that was part of the tax renewal, the EAP. It was in there. I'm guarantee you it was in there. And that advertisement that they did, it was in there. So you're taking that $2-point-some million a year that you get on the tax mill, plus the $750,000 that the city and the parish has been given. Now that's been adjusted, thanks to the city, that they're using for this program as well. And I just don't see the benefit on the backside of how it's doing any kind of economic development. So that's my spiel on that. Commissioner Epps.
Does anyone know if the city has voted on the appropriation?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Next
Do
week
you
is
know,
what I
do you know what's on their agenda?
Well, we can find out, sir. We don't know right now.
We would need to verify.
They gone home?
We need to verify.
Okay.
But me talking to councilman, it was 125.
125 is on their agenda?
On the proposed budget.
Right. Okay. All right. And they meet next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to oppose this for whatever it's worth, this appropriation toward them, because I've always been against it. I think it's basically too much money for a handful of people. I don't think it's being put in the right places. It appears as though we're creating jobs for some high-paying jobs for a handful of people with salaries and benefits. And this money can definitely be better used in other areas for the citizens in Caddo Parish. I think I had asked for a detailed report as to how many employees they had. You didn't have to give me a name, just give me a zip code. you know, 7119, 71129, or whatever, wherever the employees are. So I think this is too much. They got that tax millage passed, which would give them about a total of $42 million to the year of 2032. 2032. They ought to be creating a hell of a lot of good, high-paying jobs with that amount of money. Thank you.
We'll have a motion on the floor yet.
Okay, well,
I had to
just
do my I had to do my discussion, so I couldn't make one.
Lynn's over here saying, who made the motion?
Well, I couldn't do it. I had this discussion. Commissioner Escudé. I hadn't heard anything.
I move that the ordinance reflect that we appropriate the whole $500,000 regardless of what the previous ordinances said or what the city of Shreveport does. Speak on that, please.
Second.
Been moved, second, to allow Biomed to get the whole entire $500,000 without the benefit of the old ordinance of the 2-to-1 ratio.
Okay. Those of us who you know, went to Austin and have followed up and been active with this, and I think most people, if we're honest with ourselves, realize
Yeah, I'm talking.
that when we
Fucked up, man.
decided to do this, we made a 5-year commitment, knowing that we were going to do that because there's some things you do not get an immediate return on, especially out of the box visionary things. They take, it's planting a seed. It takes time for things to grow, and you got to till the soil and you got to nurture it and get it there. Now, the fact that the city even partnered up on a 2-to-1 ratio in the beginning was amazing to me. The fact that they even kept their word was amazing to me. But just the fact that they're going to renege on a promise does not mean that we have to on a commitment. They're probably doing it because they just don't have the money, or they'll say they don't have the money. I say they got money I see new people in this building every week, new hires, so money coming from somewhere. But be that as it may, this type of program, this type of initiative, you got to look at it. This is a school, is what it is. And so most of your monies are going to go for salaries and the structure of the organization, because it's like a mini university. It's a high-tech business incubator. They're trying to take the talent we have here and the innovation and keep it here, stop it from having to go somewhere else to be developed. And as part of that commitment, they're getting the jobs. And if you study it and you know this and you're honest, they've raised millions of dollars in angel fund investors. They just had a big announcement last week. The company, this seems to play well for people on some days. The biggest recipients of the services provided have been minority and women-owned businesses. It's doing everything it said it's going to do. Now, is it working at the pace? Do we have the big kill, the big success we'd like in a year and a half? No. But that's why, if we're all honest with ourselves, we knew this was going to be a 5-year commitment to get this thing off the ground. Nothing happens overnight. And I just think it sends a bad message when we don't get what we want immediately or some immediate return. We just can't click that switch on and have instant satisfaction when we don't honor our commitments. Some things take time. This is just part and parcel of what the state does when it promises tax incentives, and you can use the movie industry as one thing, and they get everybody to come down here and invest their dollars, and then all of a sudden, yank it out from under them. Well, who wants to come here next time they offer something? You don't keep your word. Anyway, I know there are differences of opinion, and I'm not being argumentative, and some people see it, some people agree with it, some people don't. I happen to agree with it. I ask you all to look at the long term, at the big picture. Yes, it's a roll of the dice, but I believe it'll pay off. I think we believed it'll pay off from day one, or we wouldn't have done it. We wouldn't have got involved in this. And it is out of the box, but it's innovative. But just to remind you, it just takes that one big hit, that one Michael Dell, that one Southwest Airlines, that one Chipotle's, to make it all worth it 10 times over and put us on the map. And Lord knows we need something to put us on the map.
Amen.
So, let's stay with the program. Let's keep our intellectual in most capacity and our most inventive, creative people from having to go to Ohio or Austin or Silicon Valley to get their dreams realized. Let's keep the tools here to nurture them and get their plan to market. You know, let's just take a chance. Anyway, thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There seemed to be a core group of us seem to think only investing in brick and mortar and economic development is the only thing that we should invest in. But we sit around and we pay people $100,000 salary, but we can't invest in the children. Sound like a hypocrite to me. Sound like a bunch of hypocrites to me. The political ideology may not agree with me, but we just sit up here and gave a Christmas wish list. Everybody got what they want. Now you're saying that this project Biomed, yeah, it's a far-fetched dream. We said this, and I believe we should keep our new millennium generation here for the jobs of the future and to sustain our economy and keep our people here. But we should keep our children out of jail too. You vote no on that, but vote yes on stuff like this. Seem to have two sides of Shreveport, two sides of Caddo. You got the have and the have-nots. That ain't right and it ain't fair and I don't like it. But you could pay one man $100,000, but you can't help 100 kids. That ain't good taxpayer money well spent on poor black kids. That ain't enough. We can't do that. You sit around and you pray and go to church on Sunday and pray before you go to a meeting and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Who is justice for? Justice for who? Just for your own kind? People in our neighborhood pay taxes too. They probably buy more sales tax than anybody in America. Where you think most of our budget comes from? Not just property tax, but sales taxes. People pay a lot. They buy a lot. You sit around and want to pay people $100,000, $200,000. You mean tell me you can help poor children that can't afford to keep them out of jail, keep them shooting one of us, keep them out of our houses, keep them off the streets, keep them out these prisons? Build more prisons, cut more schools, and cut more programs. That seems to be the political ideology of the state of Louisiana. Lock them up and throw away the keys. We want to be known for having the highest per capita incarceration rate in America. We're proud of that. We're proud of being low in education. We're proud of being poverty. But you got to sit around and when something like Biomed come up, you snap your fingers and vote for it. And sit around and turn poor children down. And you got to go back in your community and say you for the people. And say you for all people. You're a hypocrite. Talk out the both sides of your mouth. Let your vote be with your voice. Don't hoodwink and bamboozle people when you come in the neighborhood. Tell them you didn't vote for them. Tell them you want to lock people up. Tell them you want to send people to jail. You had an opportunity to vote for her and you didn't know. That ain't right. You go reap what you sow. How you do people that ain't got no help and no voice. God go get you. I believe, I'm almost finished. It's my last cry. It's not that I don't support economic development. I always have been an economic development supporter of Biomed. But many of you know my interest and my concern has been about people and children. I'm very compassionate. I make no bones about it. But the political ideology is that the only thing we can invest in is brick and mortar. Don't invest in the people. You don't invest in the people, the building gonna come down. You gotta sustain the people. Else the building gonna get tore up and broke into. Just an opportunity to help poor children. We found all the reason why we should not. But we found all the reason why we should on this. Some of you just a bunch of hypocrites perpetrating for the cameras. Come to these communities, come to our black church and say you support them, but you cutting their throat. And some of you look just like me cutting the throat. If somebody look like you don't mean they for you. You remember that. And actions speak louder than words. And I'm gonna let the community know who you are. When you come to my district and when you go to other parts of I'm gonna let them know how you voted up when you had a chance. And many of you I helped hard to get on this body and supported everybody up here. I hardly ever vote no against something. I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Look you in your eye. Am I right, Commissioner Escadé?
Yes, sir.
Am I right, Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Some folks look you in your eye and get on this phone and vote another way. What kind of representation that is? Now when I vote, when I tell him to do something, Commissioner Thibodeau?
You never told me you would vote for me, so I don't know.
Got you there.
So what?
Better end it up.
I'm speechless.
Look at him, he came back.
All right, Commissioner Thibodeau.
That's classic.
Yeah. We need that
On
moment.
the board, Commissioner Thibodeau.
Oh,
Speechless too.
Can anyone tell me how much additional money EAP got because of the tax renewal, or what they get from the current tax, or what they will get because of the tax renewal?
He doesn't understand it's not dead.
Do you get anything?
No idea.
Do you know?
I don't think they get anything. One has nothing to do with the other.
If you know it. If you know, yeah.
If not, don't.
Come up to the mic, please.
You know you gotta come up front.
I mean, the remark was made that because of EAP, they get additional funds, and I want to know how much or do you get from funds?
I'm David Smith, 2131 Kings Highway, Biomedical Research Foundation. The city was 250, the parish was 500,000, and the biomed out of their funds put up an additional $500,000. That goes primarily to salaries and services provided to entrepreneurs. And the individuals that work in the EAP are business analysts, financial analysts, CPAs that we hired to help provide the critical
Okay,
services.
you're telling me more than I need to know.
Okay.
I wanted to know if when the taxes renewed, it was renewed, will you get additional funds from Biomed?
No, I will not get additional. I will only get
What
the
they now are
match.
giving you?
That's what they're
Okay.
currently giving.
That's what I want to know. Thank you.
Commissioner Evans.
I don't have anything for you.
Well,
sir.
while you got him, can I ask him one more question? So
Hey, my shot.
Oh, you was, okay, you was getting.
What now, okay?
Yeah, I thought you didn't say anything. Okay, go ahead.
Thought I was what now?
I thought you had passed.
No, I told him I didn't have anything of him.
Okay, just sit on the front row.
Okay, I'm glad to hear Commissioner Escadé say some things you don't get immediate return on, it takes time. God knows I've been preaching that. A little investment in a road with some people that's got some land, that certainly if the road was improved and the drainage was improved and brought up to par, it was certainly in time bring about fruition. And I don't think we're sending a bad message. Well, I'm not sending a bad message to anyone because I started out from Jump Street against this biomed thing. And I just want you to go back and think about the Independence Bowl and the Duck Dynasty folks. You know, I sort of predicted that and a few other things. Not saying that I know everything, but I know a little bit. You need to check out those 990s of these organizations. You all know what 990s are? You need to check out 10Ks. You need to find out who these board members are on these institutions, who these consultants are, who these vendors are. In most cases, they're the same people being rehashed doing everything in a cycle. A handful of people that's getting all the benefit and the profit. That's what it amounts to. And let's realize that Shreveport is not Austin. University of Texas, I imagine their student body is probably larger than the parish of Caddo's population. We're not Columbus, Ohio. And I imagine Ohio State's student body is probably large, almost as large as the population of the entire parish, including the city of Shreveport. And certainly when you add in the the administration and staff and instructors and professors. And when you look at what has transpired down that corridor, how tacky it looks, from I-49 east going west to Mansfield Road. You know, if we're gonna make that some viable economic engine as far as biomed and the medical profession is, that area needs to be dressed up. Sidewalks, streets, tacky fences, liquor stores. But go down to Austin and go up and down their streets where they have these. Go to Columbus, Ohio, and go down their streets where they have these benches in place. Immaculate, well lit, nice, neat places. Once again, I will not support this, and I don't care how long I'm here. No one will convince me to support this. And I again would like to ask the persons up there to give us a detailed report as to all the people that work for them and their salaries, and all the jobs that they've created and their salaries up to this point in time. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Escudé.
Okay, Dave, I just have one more question, just for clarification. Biomed's tax renewal, there was no language in that renewal that funds or dedicates any of those funds to EAP, is
No, sir.
I didn't think so. Thank you.
It was just a match.
It's a match? You say it was, what was the last part you just said?
Right, it was, from other sources, they gave a match of $500,000.
I'll pull out my advertisement that I saw. Mr. Clerk, give us the substitute motion. That's
We
second.
have by Mr. Escudé, second by Mr. Dominic, to amend an ordinance to allow the full $500,000 appropriation for the Biomed EAP program.
Let's vote. That passes 9-3.
Now we have the 5535
As amended.
as amended.
Let's vote. That passes 9-1.
Next we move to 5537, Reserve Trust Fund.
I'm so moved.
Somebody had a way.
That was me, but I just so moved.
Second.
I moved.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, second by Commissioner Escudé.
I just have one question about it.
Ask the maker of the motion. Go ahead.
Mr. Gidger came in the other day and told us that if everything worked out for some people, that the total expenditure of that emergency fund would be about $331,000. And I think we have $400,000 carried over into next year. If the $331,000 takes care of business, then will that the difference between that and the $750 automatically return not be spent in the reserve trust fund?
Yeah, anything that's not spent stays in the reserve trust fund.
Okay. All right, so there's really wouldn't be a reason to amend it then?
No,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you.
Let's vote. That passes 12-0.
That should take care of our budget amendments.
Move to adjourn.
Well, I'd like to say something before we
Say
adjourn right
something.
quick. I actually appreciate everybody's thorough attention on the budget. I mean, it lets the taxpayers know that we just don't sit here and rubber stamp these particular funds, and that at the end of the day, we try to give the best product out to the citizens of Caddo Parish. So again, thank everybody for their studying and the budget.
I just want to say to the staff, thank you. I think y'all did an excellent job in preparing the budget.
Adjourn.
Mike.
Administration rocks.
Might need to bring 5 over there, cause